including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Anthony Baglione. Tracking still a mild forecast today with a high of 75, but off and on showers and thunderstorms are going to be likely. We'll see a lot of cloud cover, maybe a few peaks of sunshine, but by and large, lots of clouds, and then 65 degrees tonight.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 52 points to 42,479. This hour of the drive is also brought to you by Lionsgate. Lionsgate's ballerina follows Ana de Armas as Eve Macaro, a young assassin trained by the Ruska Roma. Set between the events of John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum and Chapter 4 with a hauntingly elegant edge, in theaters on Friday, June 6th.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws, end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
He'll toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits! Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan on a Thursday. I'm Tim Donnelly once again. Producer Max sitting in for Dennis today. He'll be producing the show. And once again, I don't know if we're still in mourning. I don't know what to officially put it. But once again, we get reminded that the Carolina Hurricanes are not still playing hockey.
It's a shame.
Last night, you sit down, you find the time and space, the time and room to watch some hockey, and of course, it's the other teams. Stanley Cup Finals, Game 1 last night. One of the rules I have, it's not a rule, I just like to say it that way, it's more dramatic. One of the things I like to do when your team is eliminated is pay attention to the teams that have done better, the teams that are where you want to be, and see if you can learn something. So what can the Canes learn from watching Stanley Cup Final Game 1? I'm sure everybody out there is saying, we'll find a McDavid and a Draisaitl, and that's a good place to start. So, I mean, yeah, if you can do it, right? That's like saying, how do I run like Usain Bolt? Do it fast. To just do it. It's not that easy, right? That's not what I took away from it. I think last night, the Oilers did look like what you're saying, right? I think they did look like the better team. I think McDavid and Draisaitl did live up to the hype, and you'll hear it right here from Greg Wyshynski, who was obviously there covering, talking about the statement the Oilers made.
To win this game, I think, is proof of concept. It's proof of concept that they can play with this team from Florida. It's proof of concept that they can beat this team from Florida. And it feeds right into the confidence that they had already built throughout these playoffs. See, I've been saying this the whole way through. Like, it's kind of amazing how unbothered the Oilers have been in these playoffs. Like, no one's really pushed them. No one's really gotten under their skin. No one's really punched them in the face to see how they react. The Panthers did that a few times tonight. They reacted pretty well. And then to win this game is the ultimate statement that they can handle adversity.
I think Edmonton looked like the better team on the ice. And you felt it early, but guess what? Guess what stuck out to me? It still went to overtime. It's still the Florida Panthers and the system that they play that has so many similarities to the Carolina Hurricanes. The system that they play kept that game close. The grinding nature kept it. They almost stole the win. It wasn't even like a quick overtime goal. That thing, they used all of it. And yes, part of it is Sam Bennett being annoying. Kept the game close. And I mean, I have a 4-year-old son at home, right? When we're play fighting and he pushes me over and I pretend like, oh, that's kind of what Sam Bennett did to avoid the goaltender interference call. Like, I got you. Oh, you pushed me so hard. I am stumbling back, and now I'm on the ground.
Like they said, the old accidentally on purpose.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you did push me, so that's on you, but I didn't exactly, all I had to do was step back or move my weight a little bit. I would have been fine. That stuff did matter, and it kept the game close. But that, to me, is kind of the message for the Canes and the message for so many other teams that don't have a McDavid. Right? If you can have your generational player, that's great, right? And then build around them and you operate in your own little sideway. Maybe the better analogy would be having a McDavid is like being 7 feet tall. If your goal is to make it to the NBA and you're 7 feet, all right, you go over here, you're going to do things differently than everybody else. But for everybody that's 6'4" and under, how do you make it to the NBA? Right? And that's where the majority of teams operate. How do you put together a team? How do you put together a system that can go up against the 7-footer and have a chance to win even when you're not having your best day? Tkachuk isn't himself right now. McDavid and Draisaitl, and I'm just using them as kind of the example, right? They're big-time players. I think the Canes need to get better players. Right, and we said that during the Eastern Conference Finals. If you took that roster and you went 1-for-1 down the Florida Panthers path, and you just matched up a Kane to a Panther all the way on down, I think the Panthers had pretty noticeably the more talented roster. I think the Canes need to improve that, but they don't have to have the most talented roster. They have to have the right roster. They don't have to have the most talented players in the world. What they have to have are the players that make the gritty, grimy, greasy plays that their system calls for. And then sprinkle in a little bit more of that talent. And then sprinkle in a little bit, like we talked about yesterday with the big-time goal scorer or whatever it is. But to me, right, watching those two teams, and especially with the kind of the form they're in, to have the Oilers play a really good game and need an overtime classic pass from McDavid to Draisaitl to win against Florida, and it's actually kind of similar to me, right? If you go this game person for person, I think the Oilers are the more talented team. But yet Florida took them to the brink in game one, and everyone's saying it was a statement by the Oilers, and I agree. But I don't look at this series as the defending champion or the Panthers, even though they are. Right? I look at this as they're the brawler, and the Oilers are the finesse is the wrong word, but they're the more flashy speed fighter. And what I took away from that game is, even when the flashy speed thing is working, the brawler stuck with them. I'm not taking away the burden of needing to get better players and bigger superstars, but I am taking away the burden of saying that the only way the Canes are going to get where they need to go is if they have the massive talent advantage at every step. That's not how it is, and that's not because of, we know the similarities in the systems, what the Panthers have shown. Now, right, you treat this from a competitive standpoint. You almost don't treat the Panthers as humans, right? If you're a Canes fan or if you're a Canes observer, invested media, whatever. Like if you're somebody invested in the way the Canes play, right, you don't want to sit here and act like you're mimicking or idolizing or doing any kind of over-flatterizing, I'm making up words, of the Panthers, but you have to be able to watch and learn, right? The I forget who said it. It's some old ancient cliche, essentially, right? A smart person learns from their own mistakes. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others. If you're not going to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, if you're going to get eliminated in the Eastern Conference Finals or earlier, you better find a way to learn from those that get there. because we're seeing how hard it is for the Canes to get past a level, right? They've made it to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 out of the last 7 years. They've been sent home all 3, right? It's hard to break through that glass ceiling. Once they break through that glass ceiling and make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, which is what's going on now with Florida and Edmonton, you don't want to get there and then have to get there 3 out of the next 7 years to learn how to overcome that obstacle. Hopefully you've been making plans if and when you get there. That's what I'm looking for. And there's a good chance with the way these teams are created and the way they're situated, although they do have some contract decisions coming up, Sam Bennett amongst them, that these two teams will be there near the end. You're going to have to get through them specifically in the next couple years if you want to win. By the way, just because we did have the conversation yesterday on some of the players that might be available, I mean, I think it was around goal number 2 that everybody just started taking Sam Bennett and sliding him up to the top of their wish list. I want I want what everybody thinks Sam Bennett is to join the Canes. I'm not sure he will actually, and especially now that I'm sure the price is going up with that glow of being a postseason performer. I might be moving him down my list a little bit.
Right. Well, I mean, there was a lot of the conjecture going around. I want to say it was a couple weeks ago. It was like talking about multiple teams potentially willing to give him $10 million a year. And it's like
really hard time getting there.
I mean, maybe that value's there in the playoffs, but like, what do you value more, right? Like a guy who I don't believe has ever really broken 50 points, maybe once in the regular season, but he's also leading the playoffs in goals, and he just had 2 last night, and now he's an impact player, and he brings that edge that so many people have said specifically that the Canes are missing. Now, is that worth $10 million a year with the cap going up? I don't know.
I'm going to reference, I believe somewhere else in the show, I'm going to reference this exact same theory. Have I ever told you what my Matt Stafford effect is?
I don't think so.
Okay, I name my theories. It's a nerdy thing I do. Matt Stafford effect is when Matt Stafford, and it's not even true anymore because he's in LA and it's Hollywood and he's on like all of primetime games for McVay. But when he was in Detroit, the Lions got one primetime game every year. It was on Thanksgiving, right? The Detroit was always on Thanksgiving. Other than that, basically 1 o'clock Sunday games all the time. And nobody watched the Lions 1 o'clock Sunday because there were, 5, 6, 7 other games going on, and there was almost always one that's more interesting elsewhere. But Matt Stafford on Thanksgiving, we'd all watch. And if he played great on Thanksgiving, that offseason, we'd all be going, it's a shame what Detroit is doing to Matt Stafford. He's so good, and they just can't put a winner around him if he threw for like 3 touchdowns on Thanksgiving. If he had a bad game on Thanksgiving, we'd be going, I don't know why everybody likes Matt Stafford. I guess he puts up some stats, but he didn't look that good to me. And you'd base his entire season off of the one primetime game he got. I think there's some Sam Bennett stuff happening there where it's like, I watched 5, 6, 7 of his playoff games. He looked pretty good, and we're judging like everything that he is off of those playoff games. Which, yes, if you step up in the playoffs, it's important, but I think you want somebody that can carry that kind of weight and workload the entire season. And there are other guys on the Panthers that I think do that more often, and then he's had to step up, particularly with Tkachuk looking a little banged up.
Little more statistical context here just to wrap up the Sam Bennett discussion. This year, his first 50-point season, he had 51 points, 25 goals, 26 assists. He has previously had more goals, so he had 28 goals in 2021-22. Finished with 49 points that season. But again, 51 points this year in the regular season, the most in his career. But if you go into the playoffs, I'm looking at 4 postseasons with at least 5 goals, and the last 3 at least 14 points in each of the last 3 years. And obviously this year with the 12 goals so far in the playoffs as well, which is leading the league.
I want what everybody thinks Sam Bennett is, and I'd want it for less than $10 or $11 million, and the price is per year. And the price is only going to go up if he has – he only needs 1 or 2 more goals the rest of the series in order for that price to be sky high. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. In just a minute, we're going to look at what the Canes and other sports teams can learn from the NBA Finals that start tonight. You can hear him right here on 99.9 The Fan. And a legend announces his return without really leaving from the NFL. Stick around.
Hey folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Something you always have to make sure you are ready to do before you get on a motorcycle is, are you physically able to handle the motorcycle? I've been dealing with a little bit of a back injury that I suffered playing hockey, and guess what? Getting on a motorcycle and try to handle a bike isn't the smartest thing to do right now. That's why I got to make sure that I am fit and ready to go before I get on a motorcycle to make sure that I am safe when I'm out there on the road. But if I am injured in a motorcycle accident, this is where Law Tigers comes in. Give them a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, even before you contact the insurance company. Law Tigers, they're there for you because they are part of the motorcycle riding community. They know what your bike and your gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and they don't get paid a dime until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I know the hurricane season came to an end. Another year with a loss to Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 of the last 3. But it's been a great year, and it's going to be a great summer with all that cap room the Hurricanes have. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from free agency to trades to the draft. We'll have player interviews, special sit-down with Rod Brindamore that he doesn't even know about yet. He'll do it, don't worry. Just stay tuned to the Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. Search Canes Corner and wherever you get your podcasts.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Green flag at Michigan International Speedway.
It's madness in Motor City as NASCAR Prime heads to Michigan International Speedway. 200 miles per hour feels even faster than it sounds. These white-knuckle, 3-wide thrills bring us one of the fastest tracks in the Cup Series. So strap in and stream Michigan Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR, it's on Prime.
You think rush hour karting is just about racing? Think again. At our Morrisville and Gardner locations, you're stepping into a world of high-speed go-karts, axe throwing, golf and racing simulators, arcade challenges, and a full-service kitchen serving up serious flavor. It's where corporate events turn into bonding moments and friend nights turn legendary. This isn't just entertainment, it's serious adult fun. Visit rhkfun.com to plan your experience today.
If there's one thing we know about dads, it's that they're not easy to shop for. Enter Kohl's. They've got everything from Nike golf gear to his favorite Levi's jeans. And you can save 20% on other finds like Flex Athleisure and Izod workwear. So if you're not sure what to get Dad for Father's Day, you know where to go. Shop Kohl's now. Select styles. Offer ends June 15th. Some exclusions apply. Coupons do not apply to Nike and Levi's. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
That's right. We have a little breaking news. Although now it appears they've been holding it from us, and it's been broken news behind the scenes for a while. Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, four-time NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers informed the Steelers that he will fly to Pittsburgh tomorrow, that's Friday, and sign before next week's minicamp, sources tell the Insiders, which Tom Pelissero is a part of. He continues in a follow-up tweet that contract parameters have been in place for months. Rodgers has said publicly he told teams that he'll play for $20 million, and the sides need to finalize the contract. Once he signs, he's expected to be on the field when minicamp begins Tuesday. You know what this is, right?
What is it?
Mike Tomlin. And by the way, I think Mike Tomlin is, like, let me get my praise out of the way because I've covered him for a long time, and I think he's an unbelievable football coach. I'm not sure there's 2 or 3 coaches in the league I would take before picking Mike Tomlin to run my franchise. He can't do, like, there are some coaches that just can't rebuild. There are some. The temptation to chase the playoffs, even if you aren't really a title contender, is too strong. Chasing 9 wins is too strong rather than letting it build for something else. The Steelers have been right in that middle for so long, right? Where they're too good to have a high draft pick or too good to consider, selling veterans at the deadline and kind of starting over, but they're not good enough to really be in the mix for a Super Bowl. They're just somewhere in that bubble making the postseason and out the first weekend area. And, I mean, right now, right, because he's not going to sign till tomorrow. They don't have a quarterback that was going to be able to. Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, like that. None of those guys were going to be able to get them to a place of competitiveness. Aaron Rodgers will do that. Aaron Rodgers of 5-6 years ago might have been able to drag part of that offense to contenderdom. 41-year-old Rodgers, which is what he is, and he'll be in his 21st NFL season. Probably you're looking at 8 or 9 wins. Probably you're looking at, the 17th pick in the draft, the 20th pick in the draft, the 14th pick in the draft. Probably looking at just continuing to be right there. No matter how bad your roster is, if you give Mike Tomlin 1 or 2 veterans he can trust, if you give him Aaron Rodgers, he's going to find a way to 9 wins. He's not going to find a way to 12 or 14. He's not going to find a way to a bye. He'll find a way to make the playoffs. And we'll have that same conversation. And I'm saying this as a compliment to Mike Tomlin. This is why coaches and front offices need to be separate. Because the front office is the one that thinks big picture, next 10 years. Coach needs to think about, I need to win this year. This is I need to win this year move for a team that probably should be entertaining selling anyone that's not a part of your core for the next 5 years. The DK Metcalf move was similar. It's like, really? Metcalf? I mean, obviously he's better with Aaron Rodgers, but what do you do? Boost you a win? All right, sweet. You go from 7 to 8. Now Rodgers takes you from 8 to 9. Maybe from 10 would be, I think, the top end of this roster, and that's not given, you're still right there in the treadmill of mediocrity. The crazy part is, it should be every year you are getting better or getting worse, and the Steelers just have been stagnant. And, oh, by the way, you have the Ravens. You have I know the Bengals weren't great defensively last year, but if they put together a 20th ranked defense in the league with that offense, with Burrow and Chase and Higgins and everybody else, they're going to be really tough. I know the Browns are absolute stinkers. There's 2 of your wins. Congratulations. You're a fourth of the way to the 8 you'll get on the season. You'll finish 3rd in the division. You'll be the wild card. You'll keep up Mike Tomlin's streak of making the postseason. Everyone will celebrate that for a moment, and then you'll go right back to, I don't think we're good enough to win a Super Bowl, because you're not, but you're kicking it down the road. There's got to be, there has to be, to use better grammar, there absolutely has to be someone in the room that has the power to fight back against the coach that wants to do everything they can to win right now, to say, we can't win a Super Bowl this year. Let's do everything we can to potentially win a Super Bowl the next year or the year after. Not saying you're not trying to win, because that takes away all of your principles, right? What's important now, go win, all those things. But let me handle the roster, because a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers doesn't get the Steelers anywhere closer to a Super Bowl.
Well, let alone a Super Bowl. How about just a playoff win? The Steelers' last playoff win was in the 2017 divisional round against a pre-Mahomes Kansas City team. And since then, they have lost 6 straight playoff games.
But they've made it every year. It's getting there. The winning record streak, right? They're making it. It's impressive. I would love to have Mike Tomlin being my head coach. I would just make sure I hired a GM that was equally as hard-headed, and hard-headed being a compliment in this case. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I do want to get to those NBA Finals conversations, but also we have some much more local breaking news. When we come back, the Dean's List, including a star high school recruit committing to one of the in-state schools. Stick around.
Champions are crowned on 99.9 The Fan.
The Indiana Pacers will head to the NBA Finals.
Basketball tonight. Indiana, Oklahoma City. The NBA Finals.
SGA 1-on-2 goes up and slams it home.
Game 1. Tip-off at 8:30 on your audio home for the NBA Finals. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Halliburton buries a bomb.
Westwood One Sport presents this special tennis update. Saturday's women's final in Paris will be a battle of the top 2 seeds. Aryna Sabalenka and Coco Gauff. Sabalenka prevailed in the much-anticipated semifinal with 4-time French champion Iga Swiatek. It lived up to the hype for a while. Sabalenka won a first-set tiebreaker. Swiatek forced a third set, but she got smoked in the third. The top seed won it 6-love.
I'm super happy with the win today and beating Iga at the Roland Garros. It's just something unbelievable and something I'm super proud of. And just happy to get through this difficult match.
It ends Swiatek's 26-match win streak in Paris. It denies her what would have been a 4th straight title, which has never happened in the Open era. As for Gauff, she sent Louise Bosson back to earth, beating the French wildcard, who had been a shocking semifinalist, 6-1, 6-2. For this tennis update, John Stashower, Westwood One Sport.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No. We tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes. Our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first. Because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Is your whole home operating at peak performance?
With Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, proudly serving our community for over 70 years. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs, including repairs and replacements for faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. We're close to crowning a hockey champion, and when I'm not calling playoff games around the country, the first thing I do when I'm back in the Triangle is head to Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet, and a great place to watch all the big games. Visit all 5 Triangle locations for great specials, like half-price pizzas, Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6, and a $6 Bloody Mary on Sunday. Dine in, carry out, get it delivered. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
Tuesday, June 10th, the Mexican national team comes to Chapel Hill, North Carolina to face off against Euro sensation, Turkey. Feel the excitement, experience the intensity, and all the passion. Be there as Mexico and its world stars like Raúl Jiménez, Edson Álvarez, and Santiago Jiménez take on Turkey. Tuesday, June 10th at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. For more information, visit SomosLocales.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
Bennett plays it all the way around for Tkachuk. Tkachuk loses it. Carolina with a chance. Empty net. Jarvis across. Svechnikov hands it off. Empty net. Bingo! Carolina, Sebastian Aho drills it, and it's a 2-0 lead for the Canes with 2:11 left here in the third period.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. A lot of news happening since we've sat down. We've only been on the air for this show for about a half hour, and already different pieces of news breaking, and here's what happens now. We start with the Dean's List. Put the class in session for him, Max. Beautiful. Our first Dean's List members are actually it's like a double. 2 for the price of 1. 2 for the price of 1. Jaden and Zavion, hope I'm pronouncing those names right, Griffin-Haynes. They are brothers that go to Rollsville High School, and they had their commitment, football prospects. They had their commitment, I don't know what's called, ceremony. They had their hey, go up there with your high school jersey draped over the table. Press conference, I guess, might be the better way. And they committed to, this was just moments ago.
Breaking news?
Sure, go ahead and fire it up. Breaking news within Dean's List. They committed to the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. Now, Zavion is a 4-star. He is listed, according to 247 Sports, he is listed at 6'6", 235 pounds. Jaden is listed at 6'3", 200 pounds. They are both brothers in the class of 2026. So, obviously, one more year at the high school level. Zavion will be, looks like the composite has him about 256th overall recruit in the country. Jaden is further down, but do not sleep on Jaden. He lists offers from Florida State, NC State, App, bunch of schools. So this is a very interesting duo, right? Obviously, one being an edge rusher, one being a linebacker. They can be on the field at the same time. You love when you can recruit the family and get 2 impact players. Here's the part that I find most interesting about this, and here's where I think it kind of helps sort through expectations for the Bill Belichick era at UNC. Zavion was committed to UNC, to Mac Brown. And when Mac Brown left the program, right, when that whole situation happened, we don't have to relitigate all of that, he decommitted. This is Bill Belichick, months and months later, getting a recommitment from a player that had already been committed to the Tar Heels. I think that's more indicative of how things have gone for the Tar Heels. Right? I think that's more indicative of it, and here's what I mean by that. When Bill Belichick took over, I think, and I fell into this as well, maybe we just got excited because a 6-time Super Bowl winning head coach is coming to the Triangle. We thought it would be like a faucet. They'd just turn on the faucet and 4- and 5-star and top 300 recruits would just come flowing out of the faucet right to Chapel Hill. And then when they had their fill, they'd turn the faucet off and wait for it to start up again. And that didn't happen, right? They had to re-recruit some guys. They got the quarterback, Bryce Baker. They started bringing in some transfers, and it wasn't as much of like a whoosh as it was like a trickle, but they're making ground. This is the type of player that I would have thought as soon as Bill Belichick signs up, is that offer still good? Can I play for the best defensive mind of the last 30 years at all levels of football? But instead it was, no, let me bring my brother and my mom on a recruiting trip, which took place not long ago for their official visit. Let us get a feel for everybody, and now they're recommitted. Both of them, both Griffin-Haynes, the 4-star and the 3-star. It's good for UNC. Next Dean's List member. This one's crazy to me. I think we have to put Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, in the Dean's List. It was just revealed that he's been elected to the FIBA Hall of Fame. That's the International Basketball Hall of Fame. I have this question to ask, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because, what good thing about Coach Krzyzewski, Mike Krzyzewski, hasn't been said already. How in the world are there basketball Hall of Fames that he isn't already in? Can we just do this like a check all boxes? All basketball Hall of Fames, put them in. Same with, there's the handful of other players. The handful of other players or coaches in history. Just check the box, all basketball Hall of Fame, so, he doesn't have to put on a suit and go accept an award every 6 months for the rest of his life. How is he not already in the FIBA basketball? Anyway, he was an assistant coach on the Dream Team.
Yeah, I mean,
that feels like that Dream Team. I was like 6 months old.
Feels like a not to, no pun intended. Feels like a slam dunk that he should be in any coaching or basketball Hall of Fame. So,
no, it's analytics now. It's a 3-point shot. 3's worth more than 2, Max. Do you have someone you'd like to throw on the Dean's List?
I do have someone I'll throw on the Dean's List here. I will go with and. I've never really watched that much softball, so it's weird that I mentioned it so much yesterday and today, but I'm going to go with Reese Atwood from Texas softball. Last night, Texas Tech was up 1-0 in the bottom of the 6th. Texas at the plate. Nigel Kennedy, the $1 million pitcher for Texas Tech.
Superstar.
In the circle. They tried to intentionally walk Atwood, and I guess got caught too much of the plate, and she hits it, singles it into the outfield.
Baller move.
For the go-ahead 2-run single. And then Texas ended up holding them off in the top of the 7th to win and go up 1-0 in the final series. So if they win, I believe that Game 2 will be tonight. If Texas wins that, they win. And all because they tried to intentionally walk her, and she was having none of it.
Miguel Cabrera did that years ago, back when you had to throw the 4 pitches. That's a hilarious move. And it's genius because the defense, like the fielders aren't ready, right? They're just standing around, biding time. It's genius. It was hilarious. I'm going to build off that real quick. And not now, listen to the show, please. But later on, there's an article about the Texas Tech softball coach on ESPN.com that I am like 3/4 of the way through. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I'm gonna attempt to tease with just a little bit of information that may seem like a spoiler, but there's more. Somehow, some way, the guy's last name was Glasgow. I forget his first. Jerry, maybe Gary. He's the coach of Texas Tech softball. The reason why he is a college softball coach, this is not an exaggeration, there's no lie said, is because of the Mexican cartels. The dude's story is outlandish.
What?
I'm only 3/4 of the way through the article, so I can't even give you more than that. Just know if you have some time, later tonight, you need some before bed reading. Not when we're on the air, because obviously you're filled up with entertainment. But Glasgow, the coach, dude's got a little bit of he's a little bit of like the most interesting man from those old Dos Equis commercials. So we'll throw him on the dean's list. Speaking of coaches, college, last one here, and I'm actually going to get a little. I'm going to call him out, but also commend him. Cliff Godwin, ECU head baseball coach. He's so close to doing what I want someone to do. So he's knocking on the doorstep of potentially saving college sports. And I'm only exaggerating a little bit. ECU head baseball coach Cliff Godwin tweeted this out. Our system is so broken. Broken, all caps, exclamation point. We have coaches at P4, meaning Power 4 schools, texting our players directly who are not in the portal, exclamation point. And we have proof, exclamation point. Name names. Name who. Who's texting? You have proof, post the screenshots.
Expose them. That's
the only way you have to shine light on the cheaters. And by the way, don't do it if you're not running a squeaky clean program, right? If you're like Power 4 coaches are texting my players, meanwhile your players or your coaches are texting, mid-major players or Division II players when they're not supposed to, you can't do it. UConn football came close. Jim Mora Jr. was going around saying players are talking to my coaches are talking to my players, and then he never did anything with it. The only way that this tampering thing gets fixed is if people get punished for it, and it's obvious the enforcers aren't doing enough research to go find it. Tampering's happening all over. It's the only thing of the transfer portal that I hate. I think players that want to leave should be able to leave. They have limited eligibility. They're adults. Let them go make decisions on where they should go. If they don't want to leave, they should not be contacted by the portal is there for a reason. You put your name in the portal, now they can reach out. If your name's not in the portal, tampering should not happen. If you have proof, put it on social media. You have the world's biggest microphone right there on your phone on the app of whichever one you choose. Screenshots and move on. He's close, though. He's almost fed up. Maybe that's what we need to next. We need his two best players to go leave. Then he'll be fed up enough to actually name names. And by the way, when it pops up, when the tampering happens, if anyone does what I'm saying, punish the schools, punish the coaches, don't punish the players. It's not their fault. They're just accepting texts.
The situation is what it is, man. Dude, do what's best for you and capitalize.
Yeah. I mean, I'm lead activist for players' rights. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and dismiss the Dean's List. There it is. Although everybody was already walking out because the bell doesn't dismiss you, I dismiss you, says every middle school teacher. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We keep talking about how exciting this offseason is going to be for the Carolina Hurricanes. Everybody thinks it's going to be really exciting for the Carolina Hurricanes. This might be the portion of the offseason, I'm just going to say this so we get ahead of it, and I've been trying not to do this, where national media members are just going to loosely connect the Canes to every high-profile player that might be on the move, and they'll do that for 3 weeks. So then whoever they end up getting with, they'll be able to say, I mentioned this in my article back on June 5th. I did connect so-and-so with the Carolina Hurricanes. I did connect Sam Bennett. I did connect, name whoever it is. But when a national media conglomerate like The Athletic, New York Times, The Athletic, puts out an article, the entire article is ranking the entire league, the entire NHL, in most likely to land Mitch Marner, who is one of, if not the crown jewel of the free agency class. And they put every team on the list, and the first one you read is the Carolina Hurricanes. You scroll, because, I'm so used to scrolling like power rankings for like the Carolina Panthers, where it's just like, you got to go all the way down to the bottom, and then you start looking. No, you don't even get a vrda. You just scroll a little bit, and there's the Carolina Hurricanes. That means something. They had 4 teams in the most likely fits tier. Carolina, the LA Kings, the newly named Utah Mammoth, and Vegas. I am excited by this. I think Mitch Marner would be a really fun player to root for. I think he's very skilled. I think he is talented, and I think he's been productive. Okay? If you want your big scorer, which we've talked about being a need, to be a free agency acquisition, Mitch Marner is the option, right? We've talked about trade options, which will be more varied, obviously, but Mitch Marner, in a lot of ways, would be the option in free agency, the position A, whatever you want to call it. But in their description, in the Athletics description for why Carolina is one of the most likely fits, they bring up my biggest fear. So it starts with the obvious, okay? I'm going to break this down, this little blurb that they give us in a paragraph. No contending team will have a bigger need for a star offensive player and as much cap space as the Hurricanes, who figure to be aggressive this July 1st, given another disappointing exit. That makes sense, right? Team needs player wants money, team has money to spend, bada boom, bada bang, there you go. Here's where my biggest fear is. Marner turned down a trade to Carolina near the March 7th deadline, but with a no-movement clause and the fact he's about to become a father, he was about to become a father, that made a lot of sense on the personal side. That situation hasn't dampened the Hurricanes' interest. But will Marner be interested if they are the highest bidder in free agency? And end of paragraph. You better make sure he wants to be a Carolina Hurricane if you give him the kind of money that it will require to make him a Carolina Hurricane. You better make sure there's a pretty good chance he wants to be a Carolina Hurricane before you spend too much time and effort and energy and attention on trying to make him a Carolina Hurricane. That much is obvious. Learn from the Mikko situation. Make sure, because like the part of it where he actually might be a reason why that you could use this in your sales pitch, your free agency pitch. He became a father, first-time father for the first time, right around the exact same time Sebastian Aho did. Okay? So if you remember when he was, they were finishing series early to give Aho the time, you know how it is. Like within a day or two or a couple days of each other, they both had their first kid. So if Mitch Marner at the trade deadline really was like, no, I'm turning down trade opportunities even to places I like because I don't want to be moving, I don't want to be away from my family with a baby on the way. That's fine. He better make that real obvious real quick once free agency opens up. His agent better be wink, wink, nod, nodding now. Like that had nothing to do with you guys. He had family stuff. Because if you spend time and effort on trying to get Mitch Marner, and because of that, you miss out on some other opportunity when it was never really an option with Mitch Marner, that's how you end up. There's only, one or two proper ways through this offseason that end up with a Stanley Cup winning roster. You don't want to miss that exit, mix that off-ramp because you're too busy being distracted by a guy who's not really an option, who doesn't want to be there, and you learned even if you get somebody in your jersey, if they don't want to be there, it won't work out. no matter how friendly they are with I mean, they could be best childhood friends with your best player, and it still won't work out if they don't want to be here. Eric Tulsky, the GM, was on our network not long ago, and he was asked, what is the process for determining fit in the locker room, how they go about it? This is what Eric Tulsky had to say.
Yeah, so a lot of that comes down to contacts. You know, we're talking to players who have played for us, who know the players because they played with them before. We're talking to coaches who have coached the player before or who are friends with people who have coached the player before. We're talking to, scouts who may have worked with the person when they were with their junior team. Anyone who knows the player, we're trying to talk to them and get their sense of what the player is like, not as a player, but as a person. And then we're working with our scouts and coaches to evaluate what they're like as a player. And we want to make sure both of those things fit.
Let's turn my microphone on before I start talking. Have to. I'm speaking with terrible grammar today. They have to double and triple check on the personal side. The hockey side I actually like. There's this tool, and this is where I as analytics as I get, because I don't know how to create algorithms. Pro Hockey Reference, which is a site that is Pro Hockey Reference, Pro Football Reference, Pro Basketball. They're great for just stats and numbers. They have something called a similarity score, where they look at the production of players throughout a certain point in their career and just tell you like who's had a similar level of production, right? Goals for, goals expected, whatever. I don't know how they create it, but it's just to say like this is a player in your tier. Do you know who was Mitch Marner's best match? Career for career? Sebastian Aho. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, oh, look at this. Look at this. And they give you like a top, I don't know, it's like 8 or 9 guys, or 10 maybe, probably 10 if I'm being honest. Guess who were both top 7 matches for Mitch Marner through this point in their career, whatever it is, 8 and 9 years, however long he's been in the league? Jake Gensel and Mikko Rantanen. So he is squarely in the production category, and that's overall. It's not like just goal scoring. Obviously they're different players. You can play different styles. It's like impact, how much impact they've had on their team positively and negatively over this point in their careers on a year-to-year basis. And so right there, it's saying this is in the range of player that the Canes are interested in acquiring because they've done it twice in the last 2 years. There's a lot that I like. And he does bring some to special teams, and I know he hasn't been the playoff performer, but I do tend to believe that situation impacts your playoff performing. A lot of that goes with coaching and leadership and culture, and part of me as a former athlete just wants to say everybody's the guy that didn't win the big one until they win the big one. I mean, history is littered with clutch performers that through 8 years, 9 years in their career were seen as chokers and couldn't win.
We talked about that, especially kind of relevant to our discussion about coaches being fired yesterday, where it's hard to break through. Like, teams can go 6, 7, 8 years with the pieces there, but to get over that hump is hard. And it's not just for coaches. I mean, it's the same for the players. The same applies. Only one team wins every year, and other than that, it's an absolute grind to try to break through.
Here is my hockey worry for Mitch Marner. In addition to the postseason stuff, but you'd have to evaluate, and it goes back to what Dan Morgan, the GM of the Panthers, said on their Panthers blueprint, which is if you're going to miss on a guy, it's usually because you don't know the guy well enough. Like, if he's ready for the lights, if he has that it factor, you're going to have to shake his hand, look him in the eye, and figure that out for yourself as an evaluator. I think Rod would be really good at deciding if somebody has that in their core or not. But the other funny thing is this: Gensel, Rantanen, and Marner. What would they all have in common coming to the Carolina Hurricanes? They played a pretty big star of a center, right? You're looking at Sidney Crosby, you're looking at McKinnon, you're looking at Matthews. Those guys have a certain when you're leaving that type of player, it's like I need the production to come with. Like, it can't. Let me put it this way. Mikko was accused of being a McKinnon merchant, right? And I don't even want to say it would be like an Austin Matthews merchant or anything, but Toronto gets up and down, right? Toronto plays a different style, and you want to make sure his production continues even in Carolina at least the same level. You might need a little bit more, right? You might need a few more goals, but you could argue him being the centerpiece of an attack, meaning the main shooter, could help with that. But now that just about everybody is pointing Carolina and Mitch Marner towards at least a higher percentage than most other teams, I think you need to explore the things you like and the things you don't like about that potential marriage. Right? Are the things that you are worried about deal breakers, or are they things you can get used to, or are they things he can fix? I need to know, I need him. The courtship has to be reciprocal, right? I want to know he wants to be a Carolina Hurricane, and if he doesn't, that's fine. We can go find somebody else. We'll go talk to trades. We'll spend our free agency money elsewhere. But if he wants to be a Carolina Hurricane, then my next step down is let's make sure that goal production is transferable from the situation you're in to the situation we want to put you in.
Right. Can I say something that might be a little unpopular?
I encourage it.
I don't know if they should go after Mitch Marner.
I think price matters.
Price does matter. So why I say that is twofold. One, Tulsky is not going to hamstring the cap situation. Now, granted, there's a lot of cap space and there's a lot of flexibility, but you have to look into the future too, and there's going to be RFAs that need extensions in a year. There's going to be other people that come on the market in the future that you might want to acquire, and you want to keep that space open. There's that. But two is just I kind of see is just another pass-first player on a team where we need someone to shoot the puck. And we were talking about this yesterday. Yep. If we can find that guy who is kind of the black hole who's going to instantly have that green light, that's really what you want. And, looking at Mitch Marner, I see 2 30-goal seasons, and one of those was on the number at 30 goals, and then 13 career goals in the playoffs in 70 games.
And we did talk about this yesterday, in that he really doesn't have what I think, and actually this past season on a per-game basis was his worst scoring season in a while. If you want to solve it in free agency, there isn't one. Right, which is why yesterday my pipe dream is Jason Robertson.
Right.
And I'm even falling more in love with that because there's more reasons that I've learned about pick ownership and contingencies on future picks that Dallas really needs their picks back that they gave to the Canes in the Mikko Rantanen deal. Jason Robertson is still my ideal, but if you don't want to use those resources on that role, I don't know if there's that black hole scorer that can just be a merchant off of Aho and Jarvis setting them up. I don't know if that exists in free agency. I think Marner might be the best option.
Right. And don't get me wrong, he is an incredibly talented player and would definitely add something, but for a team where there was so much said about, especially early in the conference final series, they need to shoot more, and when that's supposed to be their identity, and then come playoff time, they need to stick to that. They need to have guys who are willing to put that puck on net and willing to just
let it rip. Part of me also, and this will be my last point, and this is, I can bring analytics in and I can say, he's a 1.26 point per game player, and even in the postseason this year, he was a point per game. Part of me does think, just from attitude and how he carries himself, I think he might want to score more than he does, and that's I'm trying to think of the best example of this. It's I don't know, Brett Favre backing up in Atlanta, and you're just that guy wants to be a gunslinger, and if he ever gets a shot, I don't know. And not that dramatic. That's just a super obvious example from history. I think Mitch might be more of a scorer than he's been, but again, he'd have to convince me of that. They're for Marner and the Canes to work out, if I'm the Canes, for every time, every point I make for you to join us, you need to make a point about why we should want you. And then we should all talk about how cheap it's going to be and how you're going to give us just a steal of a deal.
Right. And, we're saying so much about free agency, and I know everyone wants to get all in and load up for next year and go in the playoffs. And obviously I like to add and make the team better too. But, if you look ahead a little bit at the 2026 free agency class, there are a lot of very interesting players. Now, I don't know how many of them are going to get there. I don't know how many are going to be extended ahead of time, but there are names like Kirill Kaprizov and Jason Robertson is an RFA, obviously, someone we might be targeting. Kyle Connor's a free agent in 2026. That's a guy who is not afraid to shoot the puck.
If they do reach free agency.
Exactly. But then you have to, obviously you're not banking on these guys necessarily being there, but at the same time, just the current contracts that are expiring in 26, there's also a pretty hefty goalie market as well in 2026.
Which is, I think, why Freddie is on a one-year deal. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back with football at 4, looking at, again, we're talking a lot of fits here. There is a player and the person right for the Carolina Panthers. There's one specific name that's popping up a lot. Before we get that, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Rates, they've fallen. They've risen. They've fallen. That's all I hear when I talk to people in the mortgage industry, right? They're going to fall. Just wait. Not now, next week. When this happens, it's really hard to know what the market's going to do, which just it ups the anxiety when you're signing up for a mortgage, right? Because the rate, it's higher than I want, and I just know that as soon as we lock it in and pay all these closing costs, that the rates are going to tumble by 2 points, and I'm going to feel stupid. Or you can protect yourself against that anxiety with a no closing cost loan, a no cost loan from Miller Lending. No costs, no fees, which allows you to, hey, I locked in a rate today at what rates were, right? Can't choose your timing always. You needed a house, you needed a mortgage, you got what you got. Rates tumble by 2 points 2 months from now. Refinance. You're not worried about it because you didn't pay closing costs and fees, and you won't pay closing costs and fees when you refi either. Gordon's been doing no closing cost loans since 1987, so they're pretty darn good at it, and they're locally owned right here in Cary. So this number I'm about to give you, when you give them a call, you talk to somebody locally. How awesome is that? The number, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377, or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. Football 4 coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Tibbs put a solid foundation in place for this New York Knicks franchise. He's the bridge coach. It doesn't feel right just because of how far he's taken this franchise and how close they got to making an NBA Finals appearance. But I'm not going to dismiss the possibility that New York could be making the right decision.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Adam Gold in studio with my friend Ryan Monsine from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. People are looking around their homes right now, and they're saying, I need this, I need this, I need this. You guys do everything for the exterior of your home. How do you keep it from being overwhelming for the homeowner?
Right, Adam. The first thing we do is we come out there, do an assessment with the homeowner. It's a no-obligation estimate, and we can break it up into phases of projects, or if you want to break it up into easy monthly payments, we come out there, give you a good plan. It's no pressure, no obligation, and whether it's windows, siding, doors, roofing, most of these projects we give you a lifetime warranty on for the rest of your time in the home. And then you can also break it up into easy monthly payments and make it manageable for your budget.
I love manageable. I love easy monthly payments. I love lifetime warranties. Ryan Monsine from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. These people are amazing. You should check them out online, aluminumcompany.com.
Are you ready for a global summer showdown? Sunday, June 22nd at Bank of America Stadium. Football legends collide at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Real Madrid and Pachuca. Kylian Mbappe and Jude Bellingham taking on Elias Montiel and Solomon Rondon. Don't miss your chance to be part of history. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bow time.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Meteorologist Anthony Baglione here, tracking an unsettled forecast as we head through the rest of today with off and on showers and thunderstorms possible. We'll go for a high of 75, and then we start to dry out, though, into the rest of the week with a high of 86 tomorrow and just a stray shower or thunderstorm Friday afternoon.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 108 points to 42,319.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
Football at 4 here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. I mentioned it yesterday. Yesterday was all about Jatavian Sanders. Today, who's got the spotlight? It's Tershawn, a.k.a. Turk Wharton. He was one of the bigger free agency names that the Carolina Panthers signed. And we've been talking so much about fit. A lot of it's had to do with the Canes, but it has to do with the Panthers as well. We've been talking about fit. We've been talking about you have to have the players that fit, players that want to be there, players that fit your system, players that fit your Tershawn, Turk Wharton. There's no doubt in my mind would fit in with any group assembled by Dave Canales of people. If Dave Canales is putting together a group and they're gonna go on like they're gonna be in the same tribe in Survivor, right? Like if they're putting together a group to go tackle a challenge, there's no doubt in my mind Dave Canales wants Turk Wharton there with him. He's a big defensive lineman, by the way. Comes over from the Kansas City Chiefs. This is kind of the opposite of what so many of the pie in the sky dreams for the Canes are, though. Right, the Canes, there's a lot of players out there that have the production, have the scoring, have the stuff that the Canes want, and we're all sitting around going, well, it better not be another Miko, right? Better not be another situation where the player doesn't fit in or the person doesn't fit in or doesn't want to be there, even if the player on paper looks like they should fit perfectly. The Panthers, I think, have absolutely no doubts about Wharton, the person, and I'll explain to you why. But I think that they need to make sure the player works out. But first, a little audio here, and just to point out that things are looking up with the Carolina Panthers. the decisions, and I think this is a big example, Turk Wharton being brought in, the decisions are being made by Dave Canales and by Dan Morgan, the coach and the GM, because this player fits what they always talk about. Here's Pat McAfee, obviously the Pat McAfee Show, on how encouraging it is to watch Tepper, David Tepper, the owner, known for meddling, being hands-off in the draft room.
Agreed. That's what I was about to say. If I'm Tepper sitting there, and we're doing that whole song and dance, and I'm like, Canales, how do you feel? He's like, I love T-Mac. Morgan, you could tell, wanted T-Mac. Yeah. He's general manager of the team. And then we're waiting for Brant Tillis, okay, who important. I agree, very, very important. But watching them all just kind of let them do their thing and then, like, process it and get to the end, it's like, that seems like a very sound operation. That feels like what the Carolina Panthers were considered 2 years ago. Year and a half ago, bingo. Complete opposite from just that clip, and feels like it's going to work out.
I agree, and I think that's why Wharton is there. Wharton, first of all, he has what I describe as the Super Bowl glow, right? Everybody that's been in a locker room, that's won a bunch, that's made it to a Super Bowl, that's won Super Bowls, they get what I call the Super Bowl glow, and that just means other teams pay more for you with the expectation that if you show up in our locker room and something doesn't smell right, you'll fix it because you know what a winning locker room smells like or feels like or sounds like, whatever sense you want to use. He won 2 Super Bowls and went to 4 with Kansas City. So that's part of the reason why I think Dan Morgan was excited with him, right? He's a dog. He's a defensive player that was on one of the best defenses in the league last year. He plays alongside Chris Jones, and he's played alongside this guy and that guy. He's a dog. That's what Dan Morgan's looking for. Also, he overcame a ton of adversity to get where he is. When they were getting ready to go to the Combine this year, Canales and Morgan, in one of the media availabilities, Dave Canales explained what he tries to glean from players as people before drafting them or to decide what they're drafting them. It was all about what they've overcome. He wanted to tell me what you've been through. Tell me something. When did you struggle, right? Because he thought if you find someone that's been through and overcome adversity, you'll know you have somebody that knows how to overcome adversity, right? Kind of, you can connect those dots quickly. Tershawn Wharton, do you know what school Tershawn Wharton went to, Max?
I do not.
My wife's cousin, I don't know why, shout out to Ned. We do a family fantasy draft every year. His thing is every player drafted, he can just name the college they went to. Does it, and everybody looks to him. I don't know, it's just a fun thing, and usually drinks involved. If people drafted defensive linemen, 0.0% chance Ned is grabbing Tershawn Turk Wharton's college. Because he went to, I have to look it up, Missouri University of Science and Technology. He went undrafted in 2020 out of Missouri University S&T, which is a Division II school. This past offseason with the Panthers, he's the new guy. He signed a 3-year, $45.05 million contract. That includes $30.25 million guaranteed. And there's another $9 million in incentives. So it could be a $54 million $54.05. Normally I round on those, but when you come from Missouri University of Science and Technology, that .05 is a ton of money. That is an insane come up. That is a Dave Canales person if I've ever seen one. He doesn't want the number 1 5-star recruit that went to the Blue Blood school and had somebody giving him massages 10 hours a day to make sure he's ready for game day, where he eats off a golden platter and then walks out there and has his 5-star teammates helping him win. No, he wants a guy that went to Missouri University of Science and Technology and had to grind for what he got. So
notable alumni from Missouri S&T includes Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter.
Oh,
transferred out, but he did attend.
I was going to say maybe he's funding the program. There can be some NIL deals there. I'm sure he's rich. So there's no doubt in my mind the person fits. Does the player? Because he's going to be a focal point now. Right? They chased some really, really high-priced defensive linemen. They missed out on those, and they kind of regrouped, pivoted, brought in Wharton. He and Derek Brown are going to be, hopefully, the engine that drives that defensive front. He had a career-high 8.5 sacks last year for the NFL's 4th-ranked defense. That's the Kansas City Chiefs. He's now joining a league that was worst, joining a defense that was worst in the league last year and tallied an NFL low 36 sacks. Some advanced analytics people out there think it was an overpay. The contract was too much for Turk Wharton. The Panthers are doing, I think, the opposite of what a lot of teams do, which is you pick the player and you hope the person fits. It looks like they've picked the person they want, and they're hoping the player explodes in the proper environment. It's an interesting decision. It's a test. We'll see if they pass. That defense needs to get better, and Wharton is one of the big new acquisitions. A couple rookies on the edge. Safety, like they made some moves, but he's one that has to be driving that improvement.
Nowhere to go but up.
That's true. You know what? That's a dangerous thing to say out loud, right? Because
I'll be eating those words when they give up 500 yards a game this year.
You could go from dead last worst ever to dead last worster ever. 36 sacks becomes 32. But I don't think that's going to happen. They should improve with the talent they added, including Wharton. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Marner Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. They do it all. They're actually, we're talking fit. We're talking you have to have the player and the person that fit. Marner Service Company is both. They are a part of your community, meaning the people fit. They show up. They're personable. They're likable. I walked through their warehouse, right? So this is where they're not expecting to see customers, right? And everyone was lovely. They were super nice. They wanted to show me demonstrations on how they're doing, how they're working, how they're training. It was really cool. And that's when their customer service was flipped off. Right? So when they're out there in their truck going to your house, something stressful is going on, something's broken, and they have to fix it, they will be the people that you want to interact with. And then they're also the player. They also bring the skills. They bring the talent. They know how to fix what you have working on. They know every generation of the pieces of equipment, right? Because a water heater today that you buy today is different than one you bought 10 years ago and 20 years ago, and as long as they last. So Marner Service Company, both the people and the technicians that you want to have working on your house. The number to call, 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993, or you can visit them online at MainerServices.com. Once again, that is MainerServices.com, MAYNOR Services.com. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we have the ladder challenge. See if Max or I are going to win our mini version of the ladder challenge, and we'll look at the NBA Finals tonight. Game 1 starting up. Stick around.
Hey, it's Victoria with 99.9 The Fan with a Men's Health Month tip from WakeMed Heart and Vascular. Each year, smoking causes more than 480,000 deaths in the United States. That's nearly 1 in 5 deaths. Those aren't odds you want to play with. Don't put off kicking the habit. In just 1 year after quitting, a person's risk for coronary heart disease decreases by half. Learn more about how you can quit and get started today, plus other ways to care for your heart at WakeMed.org.
Let's move! We have soccer practice, dance, and a play date.
Life moves fast, so every second counts, especially when it comes to big decisions like buying a car. That's why searching through Navy Federal's car buying service powered by TrueCar is a perfect place to start.
Thanks, Mom!
Navy Federal can help you find and finance the right vehicle so you can go wherever life takes you. Visit NavyFederal.org/TrueCar to learn more. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. Credit and collateral subject to approval.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Green flag at Michigan International Speedway.
It's madness in Motor City as NASCAR in Prime heads to Michigan International Speedway. 200 miles per hour feels even faster than it sounds. These white-knuckle, three-wide thrills bring us one of the fastest tracks in the Cup Series. So strap in and stream Michigan Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR, it's on Prime.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-575-4961.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-4961. That's 800-575-4961.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams primer and ceiling paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13, delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Hey friends, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props for the NBA Finals this week. And now you can make the smarter play with new performance trends. Want to check a player's consistency during the playoffs? Or maybe they've been flirting with potential triple-doubles. Get the latest stats right inside your app and see who's heating up. And after the tip-off, combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. If you don't already have FanDuel, it's not too late to get in on the action. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/Paul and join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Nugent Hopkins with it. Here's McDavid. Out in front. Score! Leon Draisaitl! The Oilers win game
1. This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Max Gorn producing the show, sitting in for Dennis. And because of that, we have a little mini ladder challenge going on. Traditionally, it's Dennis and I against each other on a month-to-month basis. But we knew that Dennis was going to be off the show for the next couple of days. We knew Max was filling in yesterday and today. So we did a mini ladder challenge. Each started with $10. Could place any bet you wanted. The only rule was if you win on day one, you have to roll over your complete winnings plus stake payout for day two. If you lost on day one, you went back and started over with $10. So I can tell you this. I had Connor McDavid 4 or more shots on goal in game 1 of the finals. And, yep, there you go. Right on the nose. Didn't feel good early. He really wasn't being aggressive looking for his own shot. But eventually he remembered who he was, and he did take a few of them. So he hit 4 on the nose. That turned my $10 into $23, and that's what I'll be operating with today. Max, how'd it go for you?
I was not so successful. So I was trying to get some extra value on you. Decided to go with a parlay. Oilers win. They did win in overtime, but I also had Iga Swiatek in the semifinal Women's French Open. Tied it up after the first set. She lost the first set in a tiebreak, won the second set, and then third set just got blitzed by Sabalenka. I believe lost either 6-1 or 6-0. So that is a loser, and I am back to $10 to your 23. So I got some ground to make up here.
All right. The good news is under our new rules, you can go with as crazy odds as you need to. So actually, you go first here. We'll switch up who leads off because the person behind shouldn't get the knowledge of knowing what I pick. So go ahead and make your selection. How big are you going to go?
Well, I know I got to go decently big to try to catch up or take you down.
Maybe I'm putting like a minus 10,000.
That's true. That's true. But I decided, I'd put some moderate risk here. So I'm going with a same game parlay for game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight. I'm going with Tyrese Halliburton over 31.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
Okay.
I think that should be pretty, given how all around his game has been. I feel like that should be hopefully pretty easy. But they are going into a pretty tough Thunder team. And then 2+ made threes for Aaron Nesmith and 2+ made threes for Jalen Williams.
All right. I thought for a second we were going to be on part of the same deal. So what's the odds on that?
So that is 3 legs. That is plus 374. $10 wins 37.41, which would put me total 47.41.
Well, I will give you the respect of me saying I did make a bet that is good enough odds that I thought you were going to go for it, and I'm if we both hit, I win. I'm going Pascal Siakam, 2 or more threes against OKC. So hopefully there's a bunch of threes for our case. That's plus 115. I think Siakam is the most underrated player in the NBA. He is finals experienced player with time with the Raptors. He has been an all-star. He has done a whole bunch of good things, yet all anyone wants to talk about with the Pacers is Halliburton. The Thunder defense, it's like, have you seen the movie Avatar?
A while ago,
I feel like it's the $1 billion trillion. You remember when he first becomes the Avatar and there's a couple avatars, the big lanky blue aliens playing basketball? That's how I imagine the Thunder defense. They're just all limbs and lanky and Chet Holmgren just all willy-nilly, which means they're going to have to knock down some threes. They don't want to get in amongst those trees. Pascal Siakam, 2 or more threes. It would turn my $23 into $49.45. So it basically comes down to if I get it right, I win. If I get it wrong, you have to get it right. Or else we tie with 10, and that's just...
Yeah, I'm not in the best spot, but it's just when you get to this time of the year, there's so few other than base. So I don't think I have enough baseball knowledge to throw any picks on that though. And then
just Aaron Judge to hit home runs.
If only
Cal Raleigh. What a
if
name.
only the French Open was not at 8 a.m. or whatever time it was. I don't know.
5 a.m. Some of them. Either way, that's what we have. That's it for our little mini version of the ladder challenge. So we'll see who wins that one. Speaking of that NBA Finals, let's look at that NBA Finals. Because tonight, by the way, you can hear it right here, 99.9 The Fan. There is game 1 between OKC and Indiana. It's small market versus small market. I don't know why everybody makes such a big deal out of that. These sports are national, okay? I get frustrated when people call our market. No, listen. Social media, star making, brand making, social media has made the world so much smaller. This is not back in the day. So if you're mad because it's Indiana and OKC, I thought Adam Silver, I forget where he said it. He said it a few times actually. Made a really great point. He was like, well, if the NFL had Green Bay versus Pittsburgh in a big game, people would be going nuts. They would not be saying, oh, but it's a small market. Treat national sports nationally is how I look at that. But also, I think there's something we can learn here, right? My rule from earlier about the Stanley Cup Finals. If your team isn't playing in the championship, if your team is eliminated, look at the teams that are sitting where you want to be and see if there's something you can learn. Neither of these teams, neither of them, super teams. Right? These are not, oh, LeBron ruined basketball. Now everybody just goes and pairs up with their friends. And Bird and Magic used to hate each other, but now they would go connect in Miami. And that's not what's happening right here. It's actually the opposite. There's no super friends forcing trades. Some guys were traded to these teams against their will. Some guys were traded to these teams and were not, they didn't, not only did they not ask for it, they wanted to be where they were. They put these teams together on the team side. But that's not actually I'm not here to say like super teams don't work anymore. Because they might. One day they could. If you put together a team like the Big Three Miami Heat or the Big Three Celtics or whatever, like you could win championships. I'm not here to say you won't. That'd be foolish of me. But, and this could apply to everything, the lesson that I would give to, I mean, it could be cross-sport. I give it to the Carolina Panthers. Give it to the Carolina Hurricanes, although obviously the Canes, they could easily be in a championship game. The point is, make sure you have different thinkers in your front office. Weird brains. Make sure you have people that question everything. The lesson could be as simple as, be sure you ask yourself, should we zig when everyone else is zagging? The super teams era that we've been in for a little bit now, where every team is chasing the super teams, stopped working. When? It stopped working when everyone started doing it. Right? That's the copycat league, right? Every league is a copycat league. If something works, all of a sudden everyone's doing it. That is true, and a lot of times it's to their detriment. Let me explain it this way. Most people blame the LeBron Wade Bosh connection as like what ruined it. Like that's why Kevin Durant went to Golden State, and that's why the Clippers sold everything for Paul George and Kawhi, and on and on and on and on. By win shares per 48 minutes, which is just, again, it's an advanced analytic. It's like per or WAR, whatever you want to call it. By win shares per 48 minutes, the year before LeBron, Wade, and Bosh got together, they were the first, third, and seventh best player in the league. 1, 3, and 7. They got together, and they won championships. 2 of them made it to 4. If you get 1, 3, and 7 on a team right now, you'll probably win championships. The issue is everybody is trying to do it, so 1, 3, and 7 are not paired with each other. 1 is paired with 9 and 18, and that's not good enough. And 3 is paired with 12 and 22, and everybody is trying to be a part of a super team. You end up with the Suns, which have old KD, who's not quite 1, who have Beal, who's well past being top 20. Yeah, like you Booker, who's not nearly a top 10 player, and they call themselves a super team, and everybody's surprised that they didn't win because super teams win. No, they don't. They do when they are super teams, not when they're just attempted recreations at super teams. So while everybody else was doing that, and giving up every pick, and giving up every young player, and giving up every potential developmental prospect to assemble the closest thing they could to a big 3, because that's what they needed to win, Indiana and OKC did what? They looked around for players that were showing potential and said, yeah, give us them, give us 1 billion picks, and we'll give you our 1 star. It was Paul George in both cases. Nobody wanted, I don't want to say nobody wanted, nobody was looking to assemble a super team that included Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which is why he was tossed in as a player along with 1 billion picks in the Paul George trade. OKC said, yeah, not yet. We'll develop him. Halliburton, he was playing for the Sacramento Kings. Let's not pretend like the Kings have had some exorbitant amount of awesome players and they just had them to give away. But what'd they try to do? They were trying to get a super team together with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, and they were trying to do this other thing, and they let Halliburton walk. So what is everybody in the league doing? That's like, I talk about these meetings I would have if I were Dan Morgan or if I were Eric Tulsky. I'd be a big meetings guy, but not the meetings that can be done in emails. Not like, let's have a meeting to discuss the agenda for next week. Not those meetings that annoy people in business. I'm talking about meetings where we disagree. If I'm Dan Morgan, I'm getting all of my scouts together post-draft, and I'm saying, okay, what is everybody in the league doing? And then you're going to go to it, right? Everybody's incorporating the RPO, and everybody needs to get everybody's revaluing running backs because Saquon and Derrick Henry worked. So everybody's spending money on running backs. And they're drafting running backs high because Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan worked. And I'm going to go, okay, all right, now we know what the league's doing. Is there value elsewhere? Is there value elsewhere? by doing the exact opposite, because there's more than one way to win a game. Right? I think that's partially what the Canes did so well when Rod first took over. Right? Because that was really, you're looking at half a decade ago, a little bit more. That was really where everybody was high flying, right? And the system that he plays is what he plays, and they kind of zagged when everybody zigged, and they were looking for a different player, and it worked. And it worked. And guess what's going to happen now? In the NBA, at least. Everybody's going to look for, there's going to be a bunch of people that want to trade their stars for picks. Everybody's going to be looking for, take our one superstar and give us a bunch of pick swaps. And when everyone's doing that, the price of the stars are going to come down. Because everybody, okay, instead of getting 5 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps, we'll take 4 first-round picks and no pick swaps. And then there's going to be a point where the opposite is the case. And the Thunder will be challenged by, some team that's able to put, the Lakers will, because it's always the Lakers. They'll go acquire like Giannis to pair with Luka and Cooper Flag. And it won't be as expensive because everybody's trying to do what Indiana and OKC did. Basically what I'm getting at is all the value is in being whatever you believe in. Don't just go full as far as assembling a team. Don't go full like sheep. Don't just go follow the masses. It's good to have an identity that you are confident in your team. It's and I know I keep coming back to them, but they're the like positive example we have locally. It's why I really, really enjoy Rod Brindamore. It's why I think he's such a good coach, because he does not waver in what he knows works. And it's why I think it's a pretty good thing that Eric Tulsky is showing a surprising amount of backbone and kind of panache and fearlessness for a guy that has like 27 patents and worked in chemistry for a bunch of years. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. With a few minutes here, I need to get something off my chest. The NHL draft is coming up. Okay? And this is what do they say about the movies? Like if you're a movie star, you do 2 for them, 1 for you, right? Which means like 2 big studio movies that like pay for your house and your lifestyle, and then you can do a little art house flick where you get to go pretend you're Daniel Day-Lewis and really stretch your acting chops. I operate on like a do 500 for y'all and then 1 for me. Every once in a while I take 3 minutes and I just got to get something off my chest. I got to get this off my chest. I hate with a fiery passion, and I'm not talking to any one specifically, although one article will be my example, but it goes for an entire industry. I hate the way we talk about prospects going into drafts. Hate it. I hate player comparisons. I hate that the only player comparisons we ever use are like Hall of Famers and All-Stars. I hate that here's one example of something that I hate about the way we talk about prospects. Matt Schaefer, defenseman, going to be likely the number 1 overall pick in the upcoming NHL draft. He plays for Erie in the OHL, the Erie Otters, as I learned earlier. So ESPN.com puts out an article. The article has the top 64 prospects lined up according to the author's model. And I'm like, all right, let's go see what we got here, right? Canes are picking, I think, 29th. Let me go see what's in there. And the first one there's Matthew Schaefer. And, of course, you're always going to read the one about the number 1 overall prospect, right? You go, all right, let's see what's going on here. They have, for every player, an NHL projection and an NHL floor. The projection for Matt Schaefer is number 1 defenseman. Now, for a number 1 overall pick, I'm fine with that, right? When you pick someone number 1 overall, you are projecting like that they're going to be a stud. So number 1 defenseman, cool, I'm with it. NHL floor, top pair defenseman. That's the floor. If everything goes wrong and this guy does not develop and it's not the prospect you thought, right? If the floor, the bottom, is he is the second best defenseman on an NHL team? That's absurd. That is, and especially hockey is not like this would be absurd of a basketball floor, and it's way easier to project like one dude in basketball changing a franchise than it is. You might not see a guy in the NHL for a while after you draft him number 1 overall. Sometimes they go real quick through the developmental levels, but not always. If you want to talk ceiling, because ceiling's more fun, I get it. And ceiling, you can go as crazy as you want with the ceiling. Right? Because ceiling is just that. It's the top range. You want to say Hall of Famer? Go ahead. You want to say multiple-time Norris Trophy winner? Go nuts. But the floor has to be realistic as well. I hate this. I'm just going to get it all off my chest. I hate this about the draft, right? Because the NBA draft is also coming up in the not-too-distant future. They'll say things like the body type of Kevin Durant, handles that remind me of Dame Lillard. Shot is quick release along the lines of Devin Booker. I think he could be a late second-round pick. I'm like, well, then none of those comparisons make any sense. Because if you have any one of those skills that you just described, you're a first-round pick. Like, be real with this. Right? The any prospect's floor, like, You might like if and because, by the way, I'm not going to pretend like I watch a lot of OHL or WHL or NCAA hockey, right? I'm not grinding Swedish professional league tape. So if Matthew Schaefer really is like the LeBron of defenseman prospects, he really is that obvious. I mean, his floor is what? Like 15-year NHL veteran third line pairing or third pairing defenseman? That's not an insult. That's a really good career. That's a really good career. Like, I mean, the second prospect, Michael Misa from Saginaw in the OHL. Projection, elite number 1 center. NHL floor, second line winger. I'm telling you right now, every prospect's floor is somewhere in the bottom 6 forwards. As far as the bottom, the floor. You're not making it easy for these kids. Or young men, whatever. They're not kids. I get it. They're adults. The floor for most of them is like pretty quick career and they end up coaching somewhere. Like that's the floor for most. The history of sports is littered with can't miss prospects that missed. Maybe we should stop making a realistic conversation about them being can't miss. I like this one. Cameron Schmidt, forward Vancouver. He's their 19th best prospect. NHL projection, second line scoring winger. NHL floor, AHL player. That's fair. And there's nothing wrong with that. AHL players are really good. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I just had to get that off my chest. I appreciate you for letting me do that. When we come back, we're going to hear from some of you on the interwebs in a feedback frenzy. Stick around.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, before you get on the motorcycle, you have to be prepared. It's no different than sports. We always hear about preparation, getting ready for the game. Getting on a motorcycle, it's no different. Is your bike in proper working order? That includes your tire pressure. Have you washed your bike recently? Believe it or not, washing your bike is one of the best things you can do to preserve your bike, to make sure it's in proper working order. Make sure you have all those things set and ready to go even before you get on the motorcycle and get on the road. But if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, this is where you go to Law Tigers before you contact your insurance company at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Again, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS is the number to call if injured in a motorcycle accident. Law Tigers attorneys are part of the motorcycle riding community. That's what makes them so vital. So contact them, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, even before you contact your insurance company. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Champions are crowned on 99.9 The Fan.
The Indiana Pacers will head to the NBA Finals.
Basketball tonight. Indiana, Oklahoma City. The NBA Finals.
SGA 1-on-2 goes up and slams it home.
Game 1. Tip-off at 8:30 on your audio home for the NBA Finals. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Halliburton buries a bomb.
Maxwell One Sports presents this special tennis update. Aryna Sabalenka, ranked number 1 in the world. Further evidence why she became the first since 2021 to beat Iga Swiatek at the French. 7-6, 3-6, 6-love. Saturday against Coco Gauff, Sabalenka will seek her 4th Grand Slam title. It would be the first on a surface other than hard court.
We've been able to develop my game so much, so I feel really comfortable on the surface, and I actually enjoy playing on clay. And if I'll be able to get this trophy, it's just going to mean the world for us.
It was a road match for Coco. The crowd in Paris firmly behind France native Louise Brosson, who had come out of nowhere to reach the semifinals in her first Grand Slam ever, but Gauff ended the run, winning 6-1, 6-2. Last time the women's final has the top 2 seeds, 2013, Serena Williams beat Maria Sharapova. John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
The Jeep brand has always stood for American freedom. And now we're standing with you with Employee Pricing Plus. Hurry into your Jeep brand dealer for details today and join the family. Jeep, there's only one. Offer valid on select 2024 and 2025 Jeep brand vehicles for non-FCA employees and retirees. $200 admin fee applies. Not all buyers will qualify. Restrictions apply. Does not apply to leases. Ends 6/30/25. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Hey, this is Luke with Newcomb & Company. We are a residential, commercial, plumbing, HVAC company who's been serving the community for over 70 years. Honesty is the biggest policy around here. You know, we take pride in everything we do, anything we touch. We're not one of those companies that come in, throw it in, and then you can't get a hold of them again. We're there with you, hand in hand. Here at Newcomb & Company, what stands apart from other companies is we actually do more than just AC and heat pumps. We do boilers, geothermals, furnaces, radiant floor, anything that is odds and ends that nobody else can touch is what we thrive on. At Newcomb & Company, we do same-day service. That's also another thing that helps us stand apart from other places is we do same-day service because we have enough professionals to get out to these houses to solve what the problems are. And we're on 24/7 on emergency basis, weekends, nights, holidays, you name it, we're there.
Newcomb & Company, your independent Trane dealer. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Davis drives to the free throw line, has to send it out to Ian Jackson. Between the legs, spins in, pitches in the right corner to Trimble. He'll try and answer the three and bangs it home to knot it up at 3 early on.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Nice song coming out of break by producer Max, because we have something that we call a feedback frenzy to get to. This is where whoever's producing the show, in today's case Max, goes online, checks out our YouTube comments, social media comments, grabs feedback from you, the listeners, from all over the internet, and brings the best, most interesting points up on the air, and we get a chance to respond. So, Max, go ahead and take it from here. Max has his microphone off.
Look at that, producer forgetting to turn his...
We've done it each once today.
Producer forgetting to turn his microphone on. I guess it's an epidemic around here. So we've talked a good bit today and yesterday about free agency for the Hurricanes, the offseason, what kind of moves they might be able to make.
Yep.
So we had that conversation yesterday about who the Canes should target in the offseason. Jackson Agar 7315 said should target Brock Besser and Elias Pettersson. Gives us a standalone goal scorer and a dynamic center to complement Aho. I know Elias had a down year, but so did Brock, and that hasn't been a concern.
I like trying to solve both problems, like, two birds with one stone. because I do think they do need a center that I think fits more of what the Canes system is, and then I think they can afford to have one goal scorer who doesn't have to fit as much and can kind of hide a little bit, although that's not how anyone would ever describe it. That seems expensive, doesn't it? That seems...
Yeah, I mean, he's gone that. It's 11 and a half, I believe, a year, and it was the first year of that contract. And, well, it was a tough year, but, players have down years. Like Jackson said, it's not necessarily a trend that's going to continue, but it is not something that gives you confidence necessarily.
And also, a down year doesn't lower the price in trades either. They'd be much... All right, here's the other... Actually, we need to address this because it's something that I keep meaning to bring up. The cup run for next year that you're hoping to make, the roster's not finalized till the trade deadline. There might be a few players out there on teams. They're like, I'm not willing to trade them, but Eric Tolsky might look at their roster and go, I don't think you think you're going to be much better than I think you're going to be, and I think you might be willing to sell closer to the trade deadline. And if you want to be a real, kind of put your cards on the table GM, you want to puff your chest up, you can make that bet where you say, hey, we've got money under the cap, we've got picks, and we don't have to spend them now. We're going to wait till all the decisions you made blow up in your face, and then we'll go grab your one or two guys that we want out of that rubble when you're looking to sell and looking to salvage. And could that be? Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying with those two specific guys, but you can wait for prices to change. There's in the trade market, it's not as urgent. Free agency, obviously, you gotta get it done when the market is open. Once free agents are gone, they're gone. But the trade market, you can slow play if you want, but then if you're gonna kind of stick to your guns, you're gonna have to live with it, and that's a risk.
You got to come to the table with the negotiation skills. I mean, I get wanting to look at Pettersson. He's had a high scoring output in the past, and we've kicked the tires on him a lot already. So
the other thing is, and this is kind of similar for Mitch Marner because of the rumors at the deadline. You don't want to what's the I'm just gonna keep saying movies that you probably haven't watched. Have you seen Hot Tub Time Machine?
I've seen clips of that movie.
Okay.
I haven't seen it all the way through.
The one that got away, the girl that got away, they call the Great White Buffalo. You don't want to I've been turned down, or I've tried so many times to get this guy. Now I finally can, and you do you go over the top to do it because of the building up. So. If Pettersson is some kind of your Great White Buffalo, I've tried so many times, you still have to look at it as a one-time decision, not culminating some effort that you've been putting in for the last 4 years.
Right. Exactly. We had another response here on this same topic. This was Squirrels 6117. He said, fill the top 6 up with people that can score 25 or 30 goals a season. If you have room, trade some of the assets for a league talent like Pasternak or a solid goaltender. It's been the same problems for a long time. Worry less about the bottom 6. You can find guys that play bottom 6 role really easily in free agency. Why does the team even talk about these guys as much as they do? What else is there to say? I guess try and contract some of the guys we want to re-sign if possible.
All right, there's a lot to get into there. In theory, I do get we don't need a 42-goal scorer. We can have 9 20-goal scorers. I just think in big games, the dude is the dude. And also things like power play, right? You can't put 9 guys out there on a power play unit. You need to have your guys out there on your studs out there on power play. The part about finding, bottom 6 forwards, did we not just watch the Florida Panthers beat the Canes largely because their third line was dominant? And when you can just send waves and waves and waves in a 7-game series, that matters. You don't want to have, especially when you're on the road and you don't have second change, you don't want to have any breaks in your lineup, which is why I think the Canes roster becomes its best, like best, when the stall line, and I know Rod doesn't number his lines, but when the stall line becomes a true third or fourth line, right? Because right now it's kind of, we pencil it in as the third line, but then it skates like second line minutes. And I don't love it. Like when that is a third line, if you have two obvious first and second lines, and then sure, you can have one scrappy line in the fourth. But if your first and second line and then your third is stall, that's when you're a really, really, really good team. When that has to step up and all of a sudden you're depending on them for scoring and all these other. No, don't scoff at the bottom six forwards. Like, oh, we'll just go find one. I mean, can it be done?
In theory, yes.
But I don't love it.
I get the value of those guys. The part of his comment that I thought was pretty interesting is trying to trade for someone like Pasternak. I mean, Boston did basically completely tear down their roster at the trade deadline. Doesn't look like they're going to be competitive. Now, I don't know if the mindset in their front office is the same, but that would be like, that is the guy that would solve a lot of problems if he wanted to leave. But again, he's like a mainstay there and definitely likes it. So
I mean, he's not quite as long in the tooth, but Stamkos in Tampa, Marchand, like they had some dudes that were pretty synonymous with some places that have changed recently.
So maybe not impossible to pry him away. That would be a really nice target. But
you are right where I was. Really, right when the Eastern Conference Finals ended, the fans started sending the screenshots of the calculators, and the first one that made me go, "That's crazy," but like, oh, you're just being. Are you serious? The first one was a trade that it was big, and I forget exactly what it was, but there were a bunch of firsts. I think Svetch was involved, but it was Pasta and Swayman. And I went, interesting. Like, that's so stupid. That's never gonna. Now, really, like, you should we make the call? Like, it's one of those where I don't really believe it's possible, but I do think, like, pasta's pasta. But I don't think, like, I don't want to spend too much time on it.
Yeah, I mean, if those guys were available, I'm sure Eric Tulsky would find out. Definitely.
You'd hope so.
We'll shift gears here. We talked yesterday about North Carolina basketball. The report came out that the NIL payroll for their roster is around $14 million. And there's debate over, what the value is there. Are they getting what they put in? Is it going to show? We had a comment here from J-Rob Tar Heels. I think it is the best roster we've had at Carolina in the Hubert Davis era. They are deep, versatile, and have lots of length to switch and defend 1 through 5. All these players and coaches will have an edge and a chip on their shoulder. I think people are going to be surprised.
Okay. I don't think I want to agree with that. I think unless you're counting it as like a roster that Hubert Davis put together, because when he first took over, they went
to the Final Four. Yeah.
Let's not get carried away. And they had multiple like All-Americans, as far as Caleb Love, R.J. Davis, Armando Bay. Like, they had All-Americans on that roster. The discussion we were having involving the number that was reported by Inside Carolina being $14+ million in roster allotment. I don't think you pay for like chip on your shoulder, right? You pay for obvious. You pay for the very, very top of it. Like, if you're paying $14 million, you don't want the guy that's been disrespected. You want the guy that everybody respects because he's obviously great. If you were trying to put it together with some duct tape and chewing gum and you don't have as much money to spend, then yeah, you're looking for, these guys are feeling disrespected. How can this is probably generalizing it. How can you be chip on the shoulder in college driving a $100,000 car to your $1 million house? Like, that's tough. That's big man on campus stuff, and then like turning around. That's probably generalizing it too much, but also part of that is true. Like, part of it just is.
Right. And to his point, like, I think they did do a good job of solving an issue that was spoken about a lot during this past season, that they were they were pretty undersized. and they have gone out and gotten some bigger players.
Although the depth down low isn't as good with Van Allen Lupin leaving. Every time I praise them for putting together, although Caleb Wilson is a beast, not the offensive player that I think some think he is. 5-star, though, unbelievable athlete. Vasar, really, really good. Like, they have Jaron Stevenson is big, but he does some stuff on the perimeter. They maybe could use another body down low, but definitely better than it was last year where they really
definitely a little bigger. We'll hit one more quickly here before the break. We'll go to this was on a conversation about the Panthers and the expectations coming into the year. Maurice 3374 said, Bryce will be okay. I said it when drafted, but everything that goes on in the background matters. If you cut your leg off, you are not running that fast, and every young man handles situations differently.
I'm not sure what that means.
I wasn't either, but I wanted to make sure that got in because I mean, it sounds true. It does sound true.
I'm hoping it's a metaphor. Who's the leg that got cut off? Is that Frank Reich?
I think maybe he's saying, like, if something is wrong at the fundamental level, then it's going to be hard to get to your goal. Like, obviously, you can't run fast if you only have one leg.
Fair. I want to know if you never wavered from that Bryce Young take. Because I was a fan of taking Bryce Young number 1 overall. I wouldn't have traded up for him, but I thought he was the right pick once you had the number 1. I was not as confident halfway through his rookie year. I was not as confident halfway through his second year. I'm still not as confident as I was when he was a prospect. I want to know if you wavered. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Starting 5 is coming up next. Do not go anywhere.
Champions are crowned in June. The NBA Finals.
The Indiana Pacers will head to the NBA Finals.
The Stanley Cup Finals and the College World Series.
And you can send it to the Supers. Carolina advances out of the Chapel Hill Regional.
The U.S. Open.
And strokes the putt up the hill into the middle. 2 times a U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau.
Your home for championship action all month long. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet.
You get a lease, you get Wi-Fi.
Yes,
immediately.
We need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
I am here with Patrick Day of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I'm on your website. Gutter helmets right on the front of the website. Do you have a gutter helmet to fit my head? I have a small head.
We have a gutter helmet for every head, Adam. So anyhow, if you give us a call, we'll come out and take a look at your windows, doors, siding, roofing, gutters, and of course we can do the gutter helmet. We have financing programs that are really good. So we have like 12 months with 0 payments for 12 months. You don't have to pay anything. So if you're thinking about home improvements and you're thinking you're saving up for it, just come on and see us and we'll go ahead and get you set up and get your project done and you can pay in 12 months from now.
I feel like you're speaking directly to me. If it's for the exterior of your home, there is no better place than the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can find them online, aluminumcompany.com. Siding, roofing, windows, entry doors, storm doors, and the world-famous gutter helmets. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, 1-800-672-4348.
It's Men's Health Month. WakeMed Primary Care wants to remind you to schedule your annual checkup. It's important to know your health numbers related to cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, and BMI before it leads to chronic diseases. Focus on your health and preventing disease by building healthy habits and getting that yearly checkup and those screenings you've been putting off. To schedule your appointment, visit wakemed.org.
Do you have a wedding anniversary coming up? Don't just mark the day. Make it unforgettable with Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Shop their exquisite selection of designer jewelry or consider upgrading your original engagement ring with the diamond she really deserves. Whether this is the 1st or 31st anniversary, celebrate your love with something special, wrapped in a black and white striped box from Bailey's. Voted best jeweler from the Triangle to the Coast. Every woman wants a Bailey box. Visit us today in store or at baileybox.com. loanpronto.com.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRL meteorologist Mike Mays. We've had some heavy rain come down this afternoon. There is the potential for some localized flooding into the evening hours, 68 the low. Tomorrow it's morning clouds, afternoon sunshine. It's hotter with a high at 89. A chance for some strong to severe storms Saturday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money at the closing bell. Dow Jones down 108 points to 42,319. This hour of the drive is also brought to you by Lionsgate. Lionsgate's ballerina follows Ana de Armas as Eve Maccaro, a young assassin trained by the Ruska Roma. Set between the events of John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum and Chapter 4 with a hauntingly elegant edge. In theaters on Friday, June 6th.
O'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting five. And as always, we start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Doesn't have fresh legs with him. And he'll drop it back. Marner to work. He's in. Marner! Mitch Marner in overtime!
Do you want Mitch Marner to be a Carolina Hurricane? First of all, it's nice that we can even ask. Mitch Marner, obviously from the Maple Leafs, obviously not expected to go back to the Maple Leafs. One of the crown jewels of this free agency class, the Canes are, due to the Mikko Rantanen trade, both of them. Canes are in a kind of unique situation in that they were one of the 4 remaining teams in the conference finals, right? One of the final 4. And they got a boatload of money to spend under the salary cap. That doesn't happen often. So because of that, all of the crown jewels of the free agency class are likely to be linked to the Canes at some point in time. Mitch Marner, The Athletic, put out an article that was ranking every team in the league by likelihood to sign Mitch Marner. And the Canes were the first team listed, number 1. They were actually in a tier of best fits with 4 teams. It was Utah, it was Vegas, it was the LA Kings, and it was Carolina. But Carolina was the first name mentioned. The way I'm describing the Marner infatuation, and he's quickly become, Max, you know how I like to name my theories? In every argument, argument's the wrong way, in every discussion where you have to sort through things and pick one, there's always a Bill Russell, right? When you're talking about who's going to be or who is the GOAT in basketball, we know who the argument is, right? It's Jordan or LeBron. I'm always going to be Jordan. We don't have to go down that way. But then you throw in a few others, and there's always somebody that just raises their hand, and metaphorically, and goes like, if it's all about rings, it's got to be Bill Russell. And everybody kind of looks to them, nods, all right, Bill Russell's name has been said. We're good. We've made the rings argument. Now we can go back to the ones that might actually win. Mitch Marner has become very quickly the Bill Russell. When someone's going, did you see Sam Bennett? 2 goals. He brings the edge. He brings what they need. Did you see Nikolai Ehlers? Everything he does here, you can trade for him. Jason Robertson, I know that's who Tim on 99.9 The Fan wants. There's always going to be someone there going, Mitch Marner is available, and they have the money to spend. He's just like, everyone's like, all right, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and there's logic. Okay, cool. Now we can go back to arguing about pasta, or we can go back to arguing about all of these bigger, more exciting, crazy scenarios. Mitch Marner, to me, he's close. He's so close to what I want. He's like 7 goals a year away from being exactly what I want. He's like 10 career playoff goals away from being what I want. He's almost exactly what I want.
Right on that precipice.
He's right there, and he might be the closest thing to what I want, right? Because it's, you can't go, this isn't like a touch screen ordering thing where you're making a sandwich, right? You can't just go in and go, I want 6'4", 215. I want 42 goals per season. I want at least 2 cups. I want like, it's not there. So you're going to have to settle somewhere. So I'm not saying Marner's the wrong choice. I'm just saying I want to make sure he's the right one before we get carried away. And don't forget, he did turn down, right? The reports were that he, with the no movement clause, he was not a fan of being a Cane at the trade deadline. Now, he did have some life stuff going on. He was expecting his first child and all of those things, so maybe it was a life decision, not a hockey decision. But there's 2 or 3 things I want to double or triple check before I walk down the path of saying, I think the Canes should go all in for Marner. And also price. Usually the best free agent, the highest named, the biggest talked about free agent is an overpay. What if it's the last piece that gets you to the cup? I talk about this with quarterbacks. It is impossible to overpay for the right quarterback. Like, if you trade 17 first-round picks to go up and get your guy, if it ends up being a Hall of Famer, nobody's going to think about that. And I'm exaggerating with 17. There's like, if you pay $14 million for Marner and he goes on a streak of 100-point seasons and 40-plus goals like we haven't really seen from him, no one's going to go like, you gave him the extra $750,000 a year? Whoa. So you could always stand on business. That's number 5. Let's hit number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Derek Carr in a pistol set takes the snap. Carr rolling to his right, throws, end zone wide open. The catch is made for a touchdown. Jawan Johnson, right corner of the end zone. 29-0 New Orleans.
So we actually have 2 pieces of quarterback news in the NFL for number 4. One, if you believe Derek Carr when he talks to front office sports, he might be the most, team first player in the history of the world. And I'll explain why in a second. Second of all, the other bit of news, this broke earlier today, Aaron Rodgers has informed the Pittsburgh Steelers that he will be flying in tomorrow. He will be signing his contract to be the next quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he is expected to be on the field for minicamps when they start on Tuesday. Good luck, Pittsburgh. Well, actually, you know what? Good luck to all of us, because that becomes a talking point. Pittsburgh's going to be fascinating. Mike Tomlin, one of the best sound bites in sports. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, that guy, he's never seen an hour-and-a-half long podcast that he doesn't want to jump on. DK Metcalf out of Seattle is interesting. They just got rid of George Pickens. Imagine that. Imagine being George Pickens right now. Pittsburgh moved on from you, and now, by the way, they're looking for playmakers and receivers. They reportedly were interested in who was it from Jacksonville? Oh, that's going to annoy me. The Jacksonville paid somebody a bunch of money, and then cut him. But anyway, but they're talking to Jonnu Smith. They need receivers. They just had George Pickens. But he was too much of a distraction, was what we were told, right? They need to get his personality away. Then they bring in Aaron Rodgers. That guy's not a distraction at all, is it? Is it too late to get them on Hard Knocks? I mean, Buffalo will be interesting, but Pittsburgh would be a show.
The camera crew won't be busy in Chapel Hill, so.
Yeah. Wonder who made that decision. Derek Carr, let's get back to the Derek Carr thing real quick. So Derek Carr, I wasn't fully aware of what his retirement did. All he had to do, and I say all he had to do, which it's an integrity thing, but people do it, was like give the effort that he was going to keep trying to play. Have the surgery, say, I'm not ready. He didn't actually have to play at all. He would have gotten $30 million from the Saints. He was quoted, and he didn't do that. He retired, right? So they keep the $30 million. In kind of a negotiation, the Saints agreed not to go after the $10 million of his signing bonus that they would have been entitled to after retirement. So really, he gave back like $20 million. But hey, giving back $20 million is not what many agents would advise you to do. Derek Carr, on his retirement, this is what he said. A direct quote, told it to Front Office Sports. That part was tough because I didn't want to have surgery and just sit there and, it sounds crazy, but just take the Saints' money. I wouldn't have been able to play if I had surgery, and then if I tried to play with it, I wasn't near 100%, and so that doesn't help them either. I just felt like it was the right thing to do for myself and for the team, Carr told Front Office Sports. If he had the surgery, or even said, I've spoken with my second opinions and they think rehab and strengthening is the way to go, and just pretended like he was going to keep playing, in his words, he could have sat there and just taken the Saints' money. But it's not the right thing to do. Be honest with yourself. If you had the ability to just sit there and take your employer's money, I don't know if everyone's being honest with themselves out there, but Derek Carr knows. By the way, I'd like to think we'd all act that way. I'd like to think if I had as much money as he did and I didn't need it, obviously set for 10 lifetimes, that I would do the integrity thing and say I'm not actually going to try to play and I'm not going to. But you never know how you're going to react till there's a $30 million check in front of you.
That check means a little bit different to you or me versus him, though.
I agree, but $30 million is $30 million. That's a lot of money.
No, definitely still hat tip to him for that. That's
I don't know.
Good guy move right there.
A lot of money. Or just imagine if you just took the money and then immediately donated it to charity. Right? I'm not saying you got to take it and go, blow it on a vacation in Cabo. Could have done something different with it. That's number 4. Let's hit number 3. Zavion Griffin-Haynes and Jaden Griffin-Haynes, brothers from Rollsville High School, right here in the Triangle, committed. They were 4- and 3-star defensive high school football prospects. Zavion being a edge rusher, 4-star, top 300 recruit in the country. Jaden being a 3-star, top 700 roughly recruit in the country. They have both committed earlier today in a press conference too. If you're watching on YouTube, the picture over my shoulder, you get to know it first. UNC. They committed to Bill Belichick. For the most part, this is local, staying home, right? You'd like to do that. Every coach talks about building a fence around their local area and all those things. The interesting part is Zavion, I think I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm wrong, I apologize. The 4-star, the higher-ranked recruit, had already been committed to the Tar Heels when Mac Brown was the coach. When Mac Brown was relieved of his duties, he decommitted. So this is kind of a sign that Belichick's hitting his stride, I guess. Because, listen, Mac Brown was a good recruiter. I do not want anybody to think like Belichick is going to come in and charm people more than Mac Brown charm. Mac Brown can recruit his tail off. Getting a level recruit like this to recommit, that's big for Belichick. And it's football. How about that? We're talking about Bill Belichick and UNC, and we're talking about football. Not Instagram, not dating life, none of it. We're talking football. A couple Griffin-Haynes brothers heading to Chapel Hill. That's number 3. Let's hit number 2.
Just the two of us.
Holmgren, extra pass. Jalen Williams, corner 3. Caruso hustling to get the rebound. Gilgeous-Alexander nails his three-pointer. 31 points for SGA.
NBA Finals, Game 1 tonight. You can listen to it right here on 99.9 The Fan. It is the basketball blue blood powerhouse matchup of the OKC Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. This is what everybody was clamoring for, right? When every year it was the Cavs with LeBron and Golden State with Steph, and people didn't want the same. You wanted variety. This is what you got. Let's give you a little insight into these two teams. How about the way each coach looks at their opponent? We have Mark Daigneault, the Thunder head coach, on what sticks out to him about the Indiana Pacers.
The thing that's most impressive to me is, number one, the whole is better than the sum of the parts. Like they are better because they play together. You know, that's very, very evident. And number two, they have a very, very distinct identity, and they never break character on that. They could be winning the game, losing the game, up 20, down 20. Any circumstance in the season or in a series, they're playing how they play. I mean, they're a fastball pitcher, and their fastball is tough to hit, as you can see. And so great respect for their team and coaching staff, and they're a tall order, you know, for everybody and certainly for us in these finals.
So that's the Thunder's view on the Pacers. What about the Pacers' view, meaning head coach Rick Carlisle, on what stands out to him about the Thunder?
Well, a team with no weaknesses. You know, they've got depth. They are elite defensively and really historically elite defensively. They've got the MVP. They got a lot of other playmakers. And so, you know, there are a lot of daunting challenges with playing this team, but we'll go one game at a time, and we'll go, you know, whistle to whistle, and we're inevitably going to have to play our game better than they play their game, and that's been difficult for opponents to do that have played the Thunder this year.
If we're making predictions, I think they are very similar teams. I think they do a lot of the same things. I think they want to do a lot of the same things. I think they have great rotations. I think darn near everything that the Pacers do, the Thunder do better. Thunder in 5? And I'm kind of giving Halliburton credit for like pulling one kind of rabbit out of his hat. I think the Thunder are that much better.
I'll be the one person to say I think the Pacers will win, just because no one else has said so.
So is this, are you fading like to be contrarian and some like, hey, anytime in history when everybody believes something, they're usually wrong style deal? Or do you have a reason why you like the Pacers?
I kind of buy that. I mean, it's kind of been the story of the whole playoff run. I feel like they've been pretty overlooked a lot of the way, and they just kind of keep getting these impressive wins. I think most people took notice in the series against the Cavs, the way they started that one out and closed them out in 5, the runaway number 1 seed, and they took care of business pretty easily. And even if they do lose, which obviously the Thunder are a really good team, probably overall a better team than the Pacers, I think it at least will be closer than everyone's giving them credit for. I think it'll be competitive for sure.
I think it's competitive games, not necessarily a competitive series. That's number 2, but we'll have to stick around to find out. You can listen right here on 99.9 The Fan. That's number 2. Let's hit number 1.
The one! Nugent Hopkins with it. Here's McDavid. Out in front. Score! Leon Draisaitl! The Oilers win game 1.
That's what it sounded like last night when the Edmonton Oilers took game 1 from the Florida Panthers. I am officially rooting for Florida because Eastern Conference, because, you know, Canada drought is kind of fun, because I want the system that the Canes kind of run similar to the Panthers to keep getting respect. From a human standpoint, it seems like it's McDavid's turn, right? It seems like he's waited his time. It seems like he's ready to go. Not that this one's over. I did see that some of the like win predictors have bumped it up to like 65% now after winning game one for Edmonton to win the whole thing. It's not over by any stretch. Matter of fact, let's hear from the Oilers coach, Chris Knobloch, on how a series like this one can go back and forth.
Well, there's going to be times each team's going to have their pushes, and to think that we're just going to dominate for 60 minutes is pretty naive from us. They're a really good hockey team, and when they do have their pushes, hopefully we can limit how long that is going to be. We're very fortunate in the second period that Stu made some really big saves in the second because of the quality of chances that they had, and numerous of them. So, very happy with our guys to stick with it, regroup after the second period, and have a good push in the third period. And, for the most part in overtime, I thought we were pretty good there too. But, yeah, we know that they've got better, and hopefully we've got some better too.
Neither of these teams are going anywhere. All right? Like everything I talked about for the NBA Finals, I do not think that is the case for the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't think because Edmonton is appearing, like ready for their close-up, that Florida has any inclining of letting that happen easily. I think whoever wins this one is going to have to earn it. They're going to be battered and bruised by the end of it. And matter of fact, I mean, who amongst us wouldn't just sign up for 6 or 7 editions of Game 1? I mean, the back and forth, the drama, the referees getting involved, everything about it, and the star-making performances on both sides were really, the drama and narrative you're looking for in a culmination, a championship competition. So, from the outside, we've talked about what you can learn, right, to make it this far in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I think you either need a system you believe in and really good players, or you need a couple of great players. Like that's however you get there is kind of how you get there. Edmonton, obviously, with McDavid and Draisaitl will have something going. Florida has more of the system with a lot of really, really good players. That's kind of how I look at it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Marner Service Company and their owner, Brett, of course. He's leading the way, but it's if we were to talk about it like I do with franchises, where you need to have the alignment in place, right? Owner, GM, coach, star player, all in alignment. Brett makes sure of it. Brett, as the owner, down to his managers, all the way down to his technicians and everybody that works in the building, they are on the same page, and that's fantastic. Because is there anything more annoying? And I'm saying this won't happen because I've seen the way they work. When you call somebody to, hey, because they work on heating, plumbing, cooling, and electric. My plumbing's not working. There's a leak. There's this. Okay, where is it? It's in the kitchen. It's under the sink. Okay, can you go into there? How much is it? Have you turned off the water? Okay. All right, you answered 900 questions. And they go, we'll get a technician out there as quick as we can. Technician shows up. All right, what's the problem? What? I just answered 900 questions. Now I got to answer them all to you? No, everybody is in alignment. This is a group that knows how to make your job easier, and in a lot of cases, how time is of the essence. Something like a leak, right? The longer it's going on, the more damage might be being done. They know, and they communicate well, is what I'll say. Can't say that for every sports team out there, but you can for Marner Service Company. So give them a call, 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993, or visit them online at MainerServices.com. That's spelled MAYNOR services.com. We also, right now, need numbers game contestants. So we will open up the phone lines. We need 2 contestants. The prize for today is a free race at Rush Hour Karting. If you want to rev the engines, get crazy. The number to call, 919-860-5326. Call in now. We need 2 contestants to play the numbers game. 919-860-5326. A free race at Rush Hour Karting is on the line, and the numbers game is coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
At the beginning of the season, if I had told Hurricanes fans that your year would end in the conference finals, you would have jumped through fire to make that happen. That's what we thought at the beginning of the year, that they're not going to be as good. As it turned out, even through all of the things that happened over the course of this season, through Martin Necas's touching of the sun and then being traded, it still ended up in a good spot.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
Green flag of Michigan International Speedway.
It's madness in Motor City as NASCAR Prime heads to Michigan International Speedway. 200 miles per hour feels even faster than it sounds. These white-knuckle, three-wide thrills bring us one of the fastest tracks in the Cup Series. So strap in and stream Michigan Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR, it's on Prime.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It is Men's Health Month. I'm Tim Donnelly, joined by Dr. Katie Rains, urologist at Wake Med, having some questions answered. Doctor, why does someone get a kidney stone, and are there any prevention tips that you can pass along?
There are many reasons why someone would get a kidney stone, the most common being dehydration, because it's all about the concentration of minerals in your urine. So if you have less fluid, then you're going to have a higher concentration of things that form stones. Other risk factors are dietary things, like if you're eating too much salt in your diet or you have high animal protein in your diet. Another component of stones is something called oxalate, which is found in green leafy vegetables like spinach, nuts, chocolate, and berries. So really hydrating is the number one thing you can do to help prevent kidney stones, especially somewhere like North Carolina where it gets humid quickly and you may be sweating more than you anticipate. So staying well hydrated really is the best way to keep yourself without kidney stones.
For more information, please visit wakemed.org. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. As always, we have 2 contestants on the line, Ryan and Zebulon. Zeblin and Edward and Wendell are the 2 contestants we're rocking with today. I'll ask the same question to both. Our producer, Today it is Max. He will get a chance to pick his favorite answer. That person will get to go first. And the winner of the numbers game today gets a free race at Rush Hour Karting. Pretty darn cool. Ryan and Zeppelin, we'll start with you. Ryan, are you there?
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Some breaking news earlier today. Aaron Rodgers, 41 years old, agreed in his signing to be the quarterback for the Steelers. So in honor of that, can you give us the best old athlete you can remember? Somebody that was like, way past what you would expect to be their prime that you remember just still crushing it?
Jerome Bettis. There's a bunch of them.
All right. Yeah, I said the word Steelers, and you just had Bettis pop into your brain. All right, Max, you're locked in with Bettis? You good? All right, cool. That brings us to Edward and Wendell. Edward, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, Edward, this is probably an unfair question. I guess age is all relative. The question we are asking is, who is the best old athlete of all time? Somebody that, was a little long in the tooth, but still getting it done.
This is hard. I don't know that many. Probably Rory McIlroy, 30. Probably not the prime of your career, but still pretty old.
All right. Gosh, there's a bunch of people out there going, Rory better not be old, because if Rory is old, what the heck does that make? All right, never mind. Max, who's the answer? Is it Jerome Bettis or Rory McIlroy?
Oh, I gotta give credit to Edward for the attempt there. He's definitely a younger guy, but I'll go with Jerome Bettis. Rory. You got to go with someone who's at least 40 years old, I feel like, if you're going to say best old athlete.
Like old for golf is different than old for other sports, too. But that's okay. Edward, I know you've played this before, so you know how it works. You will have your chance. Just have to sit on hold for a second. Ryan, are you there and ready to pick a category?
Yes, sir.
All right. The categories are NFL players, just joshing around. All players with the name Josh or Joshua. NFL players that they've got Wood, all players with Wood in their name somewhere. NBA players who have a buzzer-beating game winner since 2020. Or NHL players, Hurricanes only.
Let's go NFL with Josh.
All right. NFL just joshing around. All players with Josh or Joshua as a name. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Josh Jacobs, Green Bay Packers.
27.
Incorrect. Josh Norman, Carolina Panthers.
24.
Correct. Josh Sweat, Philadelphia Eagles.
97.
Incorrect. Josh Jacobs, Green Bay Packers.
24.
Incorrect. Josh Sweat, Philadelphia Eagles.
96.
Incorrect. Josh Jacobs, Green Bay Packers.
28.
Incorrect. Josh Sweat, Philadelphia Eagles.
91.
You were right to keep Pepper in the 90s. Josh Jacobs with the Packers, you are not alone here. I don't know what it is. So many people have a mental block on this. Running backs wear single digits now. Josh Jacobs, number 8 with the Packers. For those playing at home, Josh Norman, the caller did get with 24. We would have also accepted 6. He had worn both. And Josh Sweat, we would have accepted 19, 75, or 94. 94 was the one you were kind of all over.
Oh, man.
But you did get one. You avoided the shutout, so it's not an offer. Go ahead and stand the line. We'll see if Edward can get the win. Edward, are you there?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. The categories you get to choose from are NFL players with the word would somewhere in their name, NBA players that have a buzzer-beating game winner since 2020, or NHL players but Hurricanes only.
Let's go Canes.
Let's go Canes. All right. I will give you the team and the player. I will give you the team on this category, even though we know it, just to keep it fair with the other contestant, timing-wise. You'll have 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. You do need at least 2 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jacob Slavin, Carolina Hurricanes.
74.
Correct. Jalen Chatfield, Carolina Hurricanes.
8.
Incorrect. Anton Babchuk, Carolina Hurricanes.
Pass.
Scott Darling, Carolina Hurricanes.
32.
Incorrect. Jalen Chatfield, Carolina Hurricanes.
5.
Correct. Daniil Markov, Carolina Hurricanes.
84.
Incorrect. Anton Babchuk, Carolina Hurricanes.
65.
Incorrect. Scott Darling, Carolina Hurricanes.
30.
Incorrect. Daniil Markov, Carolina Hurricanes.
62.
Incorrect. Anton Babchuk. Congratulations, Ed. You got the win.
I have no clue who any of those players were except Slavin and Chatfield.
Well, you got the two you needed. You got Slavin, you got Chatfield. Yeah. With Babchuck, we were looking for 33 or 48. Darling, we were also looking for 33. You could have convinced me you knew Darling because you were all in the 30s, so you were close. Markov, we were looking for 55, but you didn't need any of those. You got the two you needed. Congratulations, Edward. You have the gift card coming your way for a free race at Rush Hour Karting. Go ahead and stay on the line. Max will grab that info from you, but you are the winner. Best old athletes of all time. I thought Brady would have been right there. I thought Brady was a good one. Robert Parrish, I remember playing until he was ancient. I don't know why that one pops into my brain. Baseball players, I mean, Bonds got better with age. I don't know how he did that. It's a complete mystery. The 86 Masters, right, with Jack, older guy. I don't know. There's some options there. I will say, as far as greatest old athletes of all time, like the ones that played better longer, Nolan Ryan was pretty good. Jerome Bettis and Rory McIlroy. I don't know how many guesses I would have gotten before I got to Jerome Bettis or Rory McIlroy on my old guy rankings. I guess Bettis was good. He was, I mean, I just keep imagining him fumbling and Big Ben needing to make a tackle to save him from giving up their postseason run when they went on to win a Super Bowl. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, Edward won. He gets the numbers game crown and, I mean, the bragging rights that come with winning the numbers game and a free race at Rush Hour Karting. And tomorrow will be our last chance at a free hour at Rush Hour Karting for the numbers game. So tomorrow about 5:30, you better call in if you want to win that particular prize because next week we'll have something new. And it's all right here on 99.9 The Fan. Also, personal favorite time, please subscribe to our YouTube. I've been negligent in reminding you all, mostly because I just don't like asking for things. I'm trying to give you entertainment for your drive home, give you an afternoon of sports talk. But the one thing that I do ask, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube, search for it, subscribe, like, grab a video if there's something about it, like, hey, I got a buddy that's a big Tar Heel basketball fan. They've got a video here. Boom, let me send it that way. Right? Spread the word. Each one teach one. Keep growing our community. We would greatly appreciate that. So YouTube 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe to all our social medias and all that kind of stuff. We'll take a break. When we come back, there are 49 days. 9 days until Panthers preseason. We have a question a day. I'll ask that coming up next.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. You might be maxed out of your credit cards. Maybe you're struggling with high-interest debt. You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Get cash out today without even touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity, it's yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Champions are crowned on 99.9 The Fan.
The Indiana Pacers will head to the NBA Finals.
Basketball tonight. Indiana, Oklahoma City. The NBA Finals.
SGA 1-on-2 goes up and slams it home.
Game 1. Tip-off at 8:30 on your audio home for the NBA Finals. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Halliburton buries a bomb.
Western One Sports presents this special tennis update. The first women's semifinal in Paris was much hyped. Iga Swiatek, a four-time champion, she had won 26 matches in a row at Roland Garros, but She has not had a great year since last year's title, and that's why she was only seeded 5th. Aryna Sabalenka has had a much better year, won the U.S. Open, went to the Aussie Open final, and Sabalenka won 7-6, 3-6, 6-love. Will face Coco Gauff in Saturday's final. Coco had little trouble with the unseeded French wildcard, Louise Brosson. 6-1, 6-2. Brosson had career earnings of $148,000. This semifinal got her about $800,000. It's the men tomorrow. 31 Grand Slams won by 3 of the semifinalists. The outlier is Lorenzo Musetti. He'll face Carlos Alcaraz in the first semifinal, and then it's Jannik Sinner versus Novak Djokovic with the championship on Sunday. With this tennis update, John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
The Jeep brand has always stood for American freedom. And now we're standing with you with Employee Pricing Plus. Hurry into your Jeep brand dealer for details today and join the family. Jeep, there's only one. Offer valid on select 2024 and 2025 Jeep brand vehicles for non-FCA employees and retirees. $200 admin fee applies. Not all buyers will qualify. Restrictions apply. Does not apply to leases. Ends 6/30/25. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
If there's one thing we know about dads, it's that they're not easy to shop for. Enter Kohl's. They've got everything from Nike golf gear to his favorite Levi's jeans. And you can save 20% on other finds like Flex Athleisure and Izod workwear. So if you're not sure what to get Dad for Father's Day, you know where to go. Shop Kohl's now. Select styles. Offer ends June 15th. Some exclusions apply. Coupons do not apply to Nike and Levi's. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Is your heating and air system ready for the changing season? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Global Golf is Carolina's largest pre-owned golf store. June 6th and 7th, you're invited to the 2-day sidewalk sale. This Friday and Saturday, don't miss huge deals like drivers starting at $50, name brand apparel starting at $25, shoes starting at $40, and golf bags of all kinds starting at $50. You're invited to the Global Golf Retail Store sidewalk sale, located on 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh. Global Golf, home of the best deals in golf.
You think rush hour karting is just about racing? Think again. At our Morrisville and Garner locations, you're stepping into a world of high-speed go-karts, axe throwing, golf and racing simulators, arcade challenges, and a full-service kitchen serving up serious flavor. It's where corporate events turn into bonding moments and friend nights turn legendary. This isn't just entertainment, it's serious adult fun. Visit rhkfun.com to plan your experience today.
Tuesday, June 10th, the Mexican national team comes to Chapel Hill, North Carolina to face off against Euro sensation, Turkey. Feel the excitement, experience the intensity, and all the passion. Be there as Mexico and its world stars like Raúl Jiménez, Edson Álvarez, and Santiago Jiménez take on Turkey. Tuesday, June 10th at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. For more information, visit somoslocales.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Serving in the military requires great sacrifices, not just for one's country, but also for one's family. Not surprisingly, divorce for soldiers is especially difficult, and it raises a number of challenges that are peculiar to military divorce, things such as deployments, relocation, retirement benefits. These issues can be complicated. So if you're a soldier facing such challenges, go to CordellCordell.com.
Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
They give to Hubbard over the right side. Breaks a tackle. 10-5. High step. Touchdown, Chuba Hubbard. And the Panthers win in overtime. A game-winning 21-yard run by Chuba Hubbard. Sweet Caroline one more time in 2024.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We are less than 50. Less than 50 days to training camp. There'll be mini camps. There'll be other things along the way, but we are less than 50 days to mini camp, to training camp. That's what I meant to say. 49 days until Carolina Panthers training camp. We're doing a question a day every show. Question a show, I guess is a better way to put that. All the way up until training camp. Today's question, schedule related. What are the 5 most important games on the Panthers schedule? And we're going to put them in order. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These are the games that will have the greatest impact when we look back on the season on was this a successful season or not. That's pretty important. We'll start with this. We'll start with 5. So this is the 5th most important game. I'm starting right at the beginning. Jacksonville, week 1. Tone setter, week 1. Right? First of all, I almost didn't even want to put this one on the in the top 5 because who cares about Jacksonville? Because you have a whole mess of games to fix or to give up whatever happens in week 1, right? Week 1 is wildly unpredictable. A lot of it has to just do with you don't know how they're going to use the roster, right? Like if you're looking at Jacksonville, they got a new coach. They drafted a running back in the 4th. They have a former first-round pick. They have a guy that was their most productive last year at running back, and they're all different. So whoever they play week 2 is going to have a real sense of like, all right, they used Bashal Tutin here. They used Travis Etienne here. They used Tank Bigsby here. Here's what they did. What are you going to do with Travis Hunter? Does he play 90% of the snaps on offense and 20% of the snaps on defense or vice versa? The Panthers don't know. Second week we'll have a better idea. So part of it is just surprise. So I almost didn't want to put any importance on it. And then I remembered last year, week 1 for the Panthers, and how all of the optimism was crumbling down by the time that clock struck 000. So it's important to get off on a decent step. So I put it at number 5. Number 4, at New Orleans, week 15. They have a late bye week. Panthers bye week is week 14 this year. So they come off the bye week 14, go into week 15 against a divisional opponent on the road, and their season ends like this. Divisional game on the road, Saints. Then you go Bucks, divisional game, Seahawks, Bucks, divisional game. 3 of your last 4. So in a weird way, this one, New Orleans week 15, is the tone setter for the last stretch. Coming out of a bye week, got a bunch of divisional games. How you play in that one is going to be really, really important. And if you are in any kind of a division race, it'll be decided in those last 3. You could even be outside the division race a little bit. You finish 3-0 against those 3, you can make up some ground. Third most important game, at San Francisco, week 12. Why? Because it's prime time. It's Monday Night Football. Everybody's going to be watching. I described the Matt Stafford effect earlier. Some casual fans will judge the entirety of your season, whether Canales is good as a coach or not, whether Bryce Young is improving or not, off of what they see on that Monday Night Football game. And you might say reputation, it doesn't matter, buzz, it doesn't matter, except kind of does. Next year, are you in primetime games? Next year, are you in Monday night, Sunday night? Are you being promoted or are you not? All depends on vibes. So playing well in your primetime game this year, vibes. Number 2, home versus Buffalo, week 8. May seem random. I looked at their schedule. The first guaranteed contender, like they play Dallas, they play some division games, like they play some games. The first guaranteed contender that they face is week 8 at home versus Buffalo, which tells me they could win 5 of their first 7. They could win 4 of their first 7, and we still wouldn't know what kind of they could win 6 of their first 7, and we'd still be going like they may have just played a really bad starting schedule. When you play Buffalo week 8, if there's any questions, that's the proof is in the pudding game. So I'm throwing, and it's at home, which I like, right? Getting a big game at home, the friendly confines of Bank of America, Buffalo, Josh Allen, all these things, week 8. Number 1, though, most important game. When we look back on the Panthers season, right? So we're time traveling and we're looking back on it. The game that has the most impact on whether it is a successful season or not. Week 3 at home versus Atlanta. It's the division opener. It's your home opener. It is the opening statement for so many aspects of your season. It's a team that Bryce absolutely lit up at the end of last year that some would say a little bit of a fluke. But if you do it again, if it was real, if you show out, all of a sudden things in the past start to click, right? So, oh, you know what? Maybe they did make those strides. Maybe that was real. Maybe that wasn't a team that meaning Atlanta, that just had a bad defense that didn't care by that point and knew certain changes were going to happen. If you go out there that week 3, it's like I expect probably a split weeks 1 and 2, which is crazy to just say about the Panthers that I'm expecting a win in the first 2 weeks. I think a split 1 and 1, and then week 3 is where that's your opportunity to let everybody know Bryce is legit. Dave Canales is not going anywhere for a long time. The defense is improved. Atlanta's a divisional rival, and they're very good talent-wise. You look at everything they added. And the other thing, this is a side note, but also they had 2 guys that a lot of people mocked a whole bunch of times to the Panthers that the Falcons drafted in the first round, and Jalen Walker and the other guy from Tennessee. Oh, goodness. He's from North Carolina.
Samson?
No, he's the edge rusher. Oh, man, that's going to annoy the heck out of me. Go look up the 2 first-round picks for the Falcons, please. They're both from North Carolina. We've talked to them and about them a whole bunch.
James Pierce
Jr., fast off the edge, good 40 time. 2 guys from North Carolina that a lot of people expected or assumed at some point could be options for the Panthers. They didn't take them. Obviously went with Teteroa and McMillan. When you pass on somebody, you want to beat that team. So there you go. Those guys, those are the 5 games that I think are the most important. To recap, 5 is week 1 at Jacksonville. 4 is week 15 at the Saints. 3 is week 12 at the Niners. That's Monday Night Football. 2 is a home game against Buffalo in week 8. And number 1, most important game as far as deciding the outcome, deciding if it's a successful season, is Atlanta at home in Charlotte. Week 3. How'd we do, Max? Any you agree or disagree with?
Yeah, I mean, every game is important, right? So you could do it.
Don't go coach speak.
But I mean, for those reasons you listed,
the most important day is the next day.
Hopefully,
how funny would that be if we did the most important games and we went 5,
the next
week
one.
5, 4, week 4, 3, because the most important game is the next.
No, they'd all be week 1 because that's the next game.
That's the only game. Go 1-0 every day. In college, we had T-shirts on the back that said "Go 1-0." That was the whole thing. Go 1-0 every day. Go 1-0 every day. Then coach would give us our schedule for the next week. We're like, wait a second. Can't have 2 days, 3 days from now. We can only go 1-0 today. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of looking towards the future, will Mitch Marner be a Carolina Hurricane? That conversation and its extenuating ideas and details was had earlier today on the show, and it will lead off Overdrive. Enjoy that. Thank you to Max for keeping us up and running these last 2 days. I think Graham will be with us tomorrow to round out the week. We'll be back tomorrow to round out the week as well. Until then, have a great night, everybody.
Move your sports day forward.
It's been a while, but the Carolina Hurricanes won't have to figure out in free agency how to spend the money, but what to spend the money for. Unlike us common folk who probably have to use coupons, General Manager Eric Tulsky will have a different challenge. He's probably going to have to pay over sticker price to build a Stanley Cup winner.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare heads. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Let's move! We have soccer practice, dance, and a play date.
Life moves fast, so every second counts, especially when it comes to big decisions like buying a car. That's why searching through Navy Federal's car buying service powered by TrueCar is a perfect place to start.
Thanks, Mom!
Navy Federal can help you find and finance the right vehicle so you can go wherever life takes you. Visit NavyFederal.org/TrueCar to learn more. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. Credit and collateral subject to approval.
Green flag at Michigan International Speedway.
It's madness in Motor City as NASCAR and Prime heads to Michigan International Speedway. 200 miles per hour feels even faster than it sounds. These white-knuckle, three-wide thrills bring us one of the fastest tracks in the Cup Series. So strap in and stream Michigan Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR, it's on Prime.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. All right, let's paint the scenario here. I need windows, but man, I don't have 3 hours to go through the process of deciding what I need, when I need it. Can you help at the Aluminum Company?
Absolutely. So, first of all, when we come out to your house to look at your windows, typical window appointment may last 45 minutes, an hour. We're certainly not going to make a 4 or 5 hour commitment to talk about windows. We're there to help.
Serve dinner last time.
Right. Listen, my wife always says, I talk to my wife all the time when we have salespeople, whatever we're doing. And my wife, I tell her all the time, I can't stand salespeople. And she laughs. She's like, you are a salesperson. I'm like, well, the difference is I'm just having a conversation trying to help people get what they want. I'm not there to pressure you. You're just there to help you get in and out. And it's a pretty quick appointment. It's pretty efficient. So we're there to help you and make it quick.
I can vouch for that. The Aluminum Company of North Carolina, online at aluminumcompany.com.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ. That's JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care.